I'm Shane.
I'm Bo.
We are your Kentucky Fried Critics.
Welcome back, everybody.
Here we are, episode 3, season 2.
2.
Still going strong.
Trying to rock a new format here.
That's right.
Keep it more trim, more svelte.
Yes, and
Still keep those curves, though. You know what I'm saying?
a little bit of a different flow on things.
Yeah.
Again, not scene by scene. Sometimes you don't know. Maybe we will. Maybe we won't. We're trying to not. It's probably a bit of a transition.
Yeah.
Again, 3 episodes in. I'm sure you guys noticed the first 2 were a little bit different.
Yeah,
4 rooms is 4 rooms, though. It's a little hard.
We had to go. There's
It's
like
I mean,
4 different.
You got to set up the room, and it's pretty hard once you're setting it up that much to not
Yeah.
just kind of go like, this is the beats that are happening in it, right? Like,
You got to do it 4 times,
Yeah.
too. So it's like each time we got to reset it up.
Yeah.
I think we did good.
well, and the timing was
It was
good. It
still
wasn't
like-
too long.
yeah.
It was like it was definitely nowhere near 3.
No.
So we did good for our runtime. I mean, I can't complain.
The only episode from this point forward that will ever be 3 hours is Lord of the Rings.
And it will
Whatever-
probably be released in 2 parts.
Yeah,
Right? Like
probably.
it'll be part 1, part 2. Like
Yeah.
even if it might be recorded in 1, but it will definitely be released in 2. Right? Like we're not going to force you to listen to
Yeah,
it at once unless you want to. So you guys already know, like we were saying, this is a different ball game. One of those big changes being no more socials in the beginning. So you're not going to be hearing us drop all those references and
Yep,
fun
you know
things.
where to find us. Don't forget, like, follow, subscribe, do all the stuff.
Yeah, do those things.
Do those things that make
It's all in the info, the description. Yeah, so those things are different to make sure that we were part of 3 hours was 25 minutes, 20 to 25 of us having fun through telling you the socials. Again, we had fun.
I had a great time.
We do understand how some people might not have enjoyed it as much.
One last hyphen dance.
Yeah. 20 minutes got to be a little excessive, probably.
It was a good run, though.
It was fun while it lasted. But we are now trying to do this better for the
More
viewers.
streamlined.
Yeah, so the fans might enjoy it a little bit more.
might
Not
be like-
just us.
Like, guys, I like you, but it's been an hour and a half. I'm done. I got to go to work.
Yeah, we're trying to make this better.
I've already cleaned my house. I got nothing left to do.
On that note, I think we can definitely just go ahead and transition off of that
Mm-hmm.
and get into it. So what beer are we doing this week?
We are doing Warped Wing Brewing Company's Gamma Bomb.
That's
which
right.
means you got to do the Hulk, right?
That we do. Which brings us to our movie. And we'll come back and say a couple things about this, but immediately we have to address the elephant in the room. You guys have seen the post already, because that's another
Yep,
one of those
that's another
changes
thing we've already told you.
we've shown you. But we are doing the 2003 Hulk. We're not doing. This isn't Ed Norton.
No,
Although we do love Tim Roth.
I do love Tim Roth.
We just did 4 Rooms, so we love him.
but Ed Norton kind of ruined that movie.
Yeah.
for me a
Well,
little
both
bit.
like on set too, right? Like
Yeah.
I've heard that
I've heard he
not
was an asshole, so that kind of ruined him for other movies.
For me personally, yeah, because I don't know how he was on those either.
Yeah,
And I like
because
to-
it's like,
Yeah, it is what it is.
we're
But
doing
that's
the
why
good one.
that's why we're not doing that one.
Yeah.
And MCU's never given us one,
Yeah,
right?
that's true.
They've given us the Hulk, but
Hulk,
they've
but
not
we
given
never
us
had his
we
own-
can't review a movie.
Why though?
I've got no answer for that. They've made him a big part of the MCU.
I know.
He's in a lot of the
I was
movies.
super happy
But
when
even
they
like
brought
his
him in.
run time, I think if you add it all up, isn't like close to a
It's
movie.
like 45 minutes. I think
You know what I mean? Like
all
it's
together.
It's rough that he's getting the
And
treatment he is.
15 of it is the fight with Thor and the Iron Man.
Yeah, so we're doing. This is the Eric Bana one. Now, speaking of the MCU, though, I have to. The weird thing is that all of this is in the MCU.
It's
Kind
all
of.
canon, technically.
Technically, in a weird
Somehow.
way. Somehow.
Can we have like Battle of the Hulks? Can we get like Eric Bana, Ed Norton, and Mark Ruffalo all in one big schmaz?
I think we could do it if they did it by making it like an inner turmoil thing. Like they're different
Ooh.
personality traits of Bruce's,
That would be cool.
right? Like I think that would be the way we could see it, right?
Hey, cool. Yeah, we wrote the sequel, guys. We got this. Me and Shane figured it out. Disney, call us.
Now let's get back to the beer real quick. Gotta say, fresh out the can, it's good.
Yeah.
It says it's citrusy. Not.
I'm not getting the citrus.
I'm not. Again, this is us guys. We're not beer people, and it might be one of those. It's so subtle that we're not trained to
What would
taste
you?
it. Again, there's not saying anything bad against the beer. I
No,
like
I
it.
like it.
It's
It's just more bitter than citrusy. I'm getting kind of a resiny flavor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm taking
Yeah.
away from it.
Again, it says it's piney. It says it's got a resinous, a
resinous.
dry resinous quality. Or
I would have said resiny. It's a much nicer word. It's more fun.
So I mean, it's good. We'll see how we go from here. Beginning taste notes. I definitely like it. Before we go any further, obviously, we'll go ahead and talk about the people in the movie.
Cast of players.
The director.
The director.
I mean, for this one.
Ang Lee.
Yeah, well, you got to like this is one of those ones where when you see the name on the poster, sometimes it will literally say Ang Lee's Hulk. You know, like it's important enough that sometimes it is part of the name.
Man, he definitely had a vision for this fucking movie, didn't he?
Yeah,
it's got a way more different feel than any other
superhero movie has.
Movie.
There's so much more. Again, like this is a psychological superhero movie. Like it's all about the inner conflict and turmoil. Yeah,
post-traumatic stress, repressed memories, all that good shit.
And
it's a deep.
Superhero
movie.
Ang Lee is that guy who, at the time when this came out, everybody wanted to work with him.
Yeah,
Crouching Tiger
was huge.
It won tons of awards. People wanted to be there. And he's gone on to do other, Life of Pi, and I mean, the guy does
Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, the guy does movies.
He does lots of movies.
But yeah, he is
a
world renowned.
Yeah,
and even at the time this came out, was already there, right? Which is a perfect segue to the cast, because most of them are literally only here because they wanted to work with Ang Lee. Like it was like that was like the thing. Like they were just like, I could take it or leave it.
I don't really understand the script.
And then they're like Ang Lee, and they're like,
oh fuck yeah,
sign me on. So
do I need to take a pay cut for that? I'll do it.
I feel like at least one or two of them might have even done that. Dude.
I'll work for scale,
right? I'd swear. So we'll start at the top. Obviously, our main star, Eric Bana. This being a Bo movie, I'll let you go off. You got anything like what do you love about Eric Bana? This is your your Hulk.
I like him because he's he seems nerdy but in shape, right? Which is weird. It's like he's almost in shape to be the scientist that he is.
I was gonna say that to you. Like, to me, him as Bruce Banner is almost
like Olympic swimmer body.
Yeah,
almost.
Yeah. He is svelte.
He's Phelps.
He is definitely very, very much built. Like, like there are some scenes in this movie where like you see him pre-Hulk, like pre anything, and so he shouldn't have anything.
No, he's just like, man,
be
you got some
totally Bruce Banner.
Some, like, guns on him and shit.
When you see like the weird dream sequence thing from her, the flashback within a flashback, he is cut. When you see him like bend down to pick her up, you can see like the guns for a second.
That fucking like Frosty Freeze uniform.
Yeah, whatever it was. I don't know.
Them shoulders.
Yeah, exactly. You're just like, damn, dude, it's huge.
So one thing I'll give Mark Ruffalo's character, he's like,
he is built like what
I'm a scientist. Yeah, I look like a dad.
He looks like Banner.
Yeah,
for sure. Yeah. Again, I don't have a problem with this.
No, not at all. I love Eric Bana. He was Hector in Troy. That was a great fucking movie. Played a fantastic heroin addict in that one episode of Tour of Duty. Good job.
I was going to say, I'm not real familiar with a lot of his work outside of the Hulk. Really.
That's the earliest one I can remember. He just
not even early. I think
that show came out like early 90s or something.
I'm not a very knowledgeable on most of, like, again, you know me, I'm usually full of trivia and facts.
Yeah.
Eric Bana's not the guy. I don't really
didn't like his acting much.
It's not even that. I just never really caught me for the when I go on my weird trivia deep dive. I can't tell you what triggers them. It just kind of happens. Like anybody with like weird ADD type triggers like that. Yeah, like you don't know why it happens. You just get triggered on a deep dive.
Poor Eric.
He was never one of the people. I don't know why. Just never is.
It's that face. It's that goofy ass face.
Moving on from him though. We can hit our female co-lead, I guess.
Yeah, that works.
No, what it's the Hulk. Like, I mean, do we even really care about most of the other characters? It's not Bruce Banner slash.
No,
Well,
not really.
I guess before we move on, if we're going to say this, we should talk about the Hulk. The Hulk, though, is also played by not Eric Bana, right? I
Yeah.
think we have to address that. Like,
That's
it's,
why
it's
he
not
looks,
one of those.
That's why he looks
things.
so weird
Yeah.
when he's in the Hulk form.
Yeah, we are motion capping.
Yeah.
It is still like what you would expect. It's just
It's one
not
of the like really early ones.
yeah.
too.
It's just not motion capping.
Eric
Bana.
Bana. It's motion capturing Ang Lee.
Ang Lee.
So it has a
Which
much wider face.
I guess if
than
that's
Eric
what you're
Bana
doing, though,
does.
who better to understand what you want from the monster than the guy himself?
I guess, but man, he made some facial choices.
He did. It was weird. Maybe he should have motion capped Eric Bana's face and then just his body for the
rest of the
movements.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably would have
Been a better choice, maybe.
cost too much, I guess.
No, I would have been about the
You
same.
do it at the same fucking time. What are you talking about?
Probably. I don't know how that works.
I don't either.
I'm not that into the insider side of Hollywood. But yeah, so now I think we can move on to our next person.
to
Jennifer Connelly.
The lovely, talented, beautiful Jennifer Connelly, who we all had a crush on back in the day.
Yeah, well, I mean, you see the Labyrinth, and
You have to.
What are you gonna do?
And she's got the Bowie touch. Like she
Yeah.
touched Bowie, so it just makes her even cooler.
She hung out with the dude. But yeah, Jennifer Connelly is definitely one of those people. You know her.
Yeah.
Even if you don't know her from anything else, you know her from the Labyrinth. But again, I mean, I'm sure
She's been in all kinds of
yes,
other
a lot
stuff.
of stuff. She is big. She is here because of Ang Lee. She wanted to work.
We can
with
say
Ang Lee.
that literally about everybody
just
on this
about.
cast
I mean,
list.
I probably will stop saying it because it's basically the case for all of these
It's
people.
okay, I'll keep saying it. I'll
Okay.
annoy people. It's fine.
I guess we're done with Jennifer.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's-
if I have anything else to
No, I
say
don't really
about
have
her.
anything.
I mean, she is playing Betty. I guess we should say that she's playing
Betty.
Betty Ross, not Betsy Ross. Make sure you understand
Yeah.
this. We're not talking about the historical
So
figure. We are
close.
talking about the comic book character who is named after the historical figure, but in a gentle nod. But it does make it very confusing. But we are talking about Betty.
Yeah,
Betty Ross,
not Betsy Ross.
daughter of.
No, it would be fucking funny. Just one scene of her like doing needlepoint and it's a flag. Right?
Nice throwback to where her
Yeah,
name
right.
comes from. But that does give us a good segue for our next person because she is playing Betty Ross, daughter of Thunderbolt Ross himself, General Ross.
Fucking hell of a name, man.
Yeah. It's a name that we don't really get in this movie. They only like gentle nod
It's
to
like
it by
on
the
his
T-bolt,
uniform it says T-Bolt.
and the helicopter.
Call sign on the
Yeah.
chopper.
Yeah, so that he is played by none other than the Sam Elliott,
The legend.
the man, the myth,
The mustache.
Sam Elliott.
And this is the best mustache ever. I love this one.
He almost didn't have it for this one.
No.
Ang
I-
Lee had to convince him to keep
Good.
it.
I completely agree with Ang Lee on that one.
He came in and he was like, well, I just figure military with the regulations they have, he wouldn't have had a mustache.
You're in general. You can have a mustache.
Well, and so, yeah, basically Ang Lee was just like, well, I don't even care about that. Like, but people want you.
yeah. You're
And I want
known for the
you
stash. And I
to
guess
have a mustache.
the compromise was he's like, well,
It's
well
like
fine. I'm going to have the most regulated mustache
very
ever.
clean.
Just
I was
it
about to
is
say,
so
it is so clean.
precise.
Well, normally when you think
Not like
of,
mine. Not this shit.
Well, normally when you think of Sam Elliott, you think of like
Big
thick,
bushy mustache.
bushy,
Kind of over
long,
the lips
over the lip.
and stuff. Food is getting stuck in that thing.
like the Big Lebowski. I totally always think of his
The
Big
cowboy
Lebowski
and
character.
the-
Yeah.
yeah.
And then I would say our last person that we really even need to mention, right? Like we're our last big person, right? Nick Nolte.
Yes.
We all know Nick Nolte. We all got a different thing that we know him from, that we love him from. I love the 48 Hours.
That's what I was
movies.
about to say. I was like, I love 48-hour movies.
You can't go wrong with Eddie Murphy, and then Nick Nolte is like the straight man.
The straight
dude.
man,
So
just getting
good.
That
So
vein
good.
about to pop
Yes,
out of
dude.
his skull.
Love it, love it, love it.
He's a great freak out.
Oh
guy.
yes, no, he knows how to. Yeah. He knows how to like really explode on a person, right?
It's
like,
great.
and then this movie gives us a very different looking Nick Nolte too, right? You think of Nick Nolte, you think clean cut, you
Yeah.
think like, again, no
Kinda looks
facial
like a
hair.
cop.
Yeah, no facial
Yeah.
hair, right? Like in a short, like
You could
haircut,
easily mistake him
yeah,
for a Fed.
blonde hair. He's right. What's this brunette that he's rocking in this?
Grayish
weird
brunette.
gray. I don't know. It's I don't know. It's definitely not Nick Nolte.
No, he looks rough in this movie.
Which leads us to one of the best internet pictures
Ever?
ever from
You've seen
somebody's
it.
his
His
mugshot.
mugshot.
Yeah, his mug. It's the best mugshot of any celebrity in the world.
And you
He
would
looks
think, yeah,
wild
you would
and
think it's
nuts.
because he was just on a shit ton of drugs and all out
He
partying.
was drunk. It
Yeah.
was a DUI, but he was definitely not as bad as the picture
Makes him
looks,
look. It was
because it was
Ang
while he
Lee's-
was filming
It was
this.
Ang Lee's fault.
He was literally in character and
That's so good.
had the crazy hair
It's
extensions.
all Ang Lee's fault why we have that awesome fucking picture.
Gotta love it.
And I do.
But yeah, like we said, that's really, again, main people. This is it. I will give him credit. It's not like a small cast, as in there are tons of background characters,
Yeah.
right? There are tons of military people fleshing out whole scenes and
Other
this and that.
scientists.
But we don't really interact with them that much as
No.
as us. They
I
are
think there's
literally just there.
only like 3 or 4 other named
Yeah, they are
characters.
there to fill the world so it doesn't feel empty, but they are not there to be like real characters in the movie.
Remember how I like to say sometimes this could be a stage play?
Yeah.
This one cannot.
No,
There's
because
no
you need those
way.
other people.
You do.
You
Otherwise,
don't
it
need
just
them
feels
to
like
talk, but you need them there. Yeah. We do have a few cameos in the movie that I want to mention. Obviously, the big two, right? We've got Stanley.
yeah.
We have to mention that because this being a pre-MCU.
Yeah, this is one of the first ones.
There wasn't a standard yet for
Yeah.
it, right? There's only
It wasn't. We weren't watching the movies looking for him
there
yet.
had only been Spider-Man before this, as far as like, and it was, again, that's not the MCU. This is
Nope,
this
that's just
is
Spider-Man.
Tobey Maguire. We didn't even know there was going to be a second one.
My Spider-Man.
Our Spider-Man.
Our Spider-Man.
The millennial
the
Spider-Man.
The good one.
Yeah.
Fight me.
But yeah, this was definitely at a time where we didn't know there were going to be more comic book movies. We just had that one. They were telling us about this one. I don't even know if they had already made announcements for whatever might have been after this. And there really weren't. It was these two and then nothing till Iron Man, which is like 5 years later. Like
Yeah,
the
something like
MCU, there's always Punisher movies, but they're usually
they keep trying to do Punisher.
well, they're usually
don't
like
they?
straight to DVD
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, like, so those don't count. But
No.
you know what I mean? Like DC still had some going, but theirs were getting over. There's like, this is serious. Theirs
There's
went even
DC.
seriouser.
There's DC serious.
Yeah, right? Like, I mean, so this is at a time where like this is the kind of era of comic book movies we could have had, right? This is
Yeah.
like this is the split in the timeline.
The like psychological drama superhero movie.
Yeah, this being pre-MCU and pre-certain rules that they like to have, such as like nodding to previous people playing, like
Yeah.
the MCU never gave us a nod from Spider-Man to Spider-Man until they had a reason for those people
for
to
that
be
to
in the
happen.
movie as characters. Whereas in this one was like, hey, there's Stanley, which again, this is before there was a precedent, but who's with him?
Fucking Ferrigno.
Ferrigno. Because we got to give nod to
The original
he's
Hulk.
the
And dude, he's looking fucking huge.
Even then.
in that scene.
even then, and that he was already way past needing
Yeah,
to
he
be
was-
that big.
He's bigger than he was when he was on the show.
Yeah, he's definitely. They're both security guards.
Yeah,
right?
there was
Even the
security
movie.
at the Berkeley College,
Yeah.
I think is where they're at.
But so yeah, it's great to see him because again, it's a legacy character. He's the first time. One of like
I
the
think
first time that
It was
any Marvel.
successful.
Well, it might have been the first time any Marvel character had been on TV.
and was,
Yeah, which means he's the first on-screen ever. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I will accept that. until
certainly,
proven wrong.
he's certainly one of the first. You know
It's
what I
the
mean?
first
Like
good one.
Yeah.
Maybe Wonder Woman, but that's DC. Never mind.
Yeah, like I said,
so.
I think he might be the first Marvel on screen.
Yeah, sounds right to me.
But so other than those two cameos, and again, those are literal cameos, right?
Yeah,
Like,
they just walk- they just walk
they're
out a
not
door.
like bit parts. Even these are just
Ferrigno
cameos.
doesn't even say anything.
He might have one word. Like he literally might say like
Yeah.
something to Stan. Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. But it's definitely not much.
Stan's always
yeah.
like, we need a tight security.
Yeah.
You got a place like this, you never know what'll happen.
The only other person that I even want to mention from the cast, it being one of those guys, maybe not for everybody, but certainly for me, because I love the show Lost, is we had Daniel Day Kim. It's the guy who plays Jin.
Jin
From
from
Lost.
From Lost.
I lost it.
Silent warrior monk guy.
Lost to me is just is one of those shows where like the show itself is those guys. Like everybody that's on it now, if I
Yeah.
see them, I have to be. I'm
Just
always
know
like,
you
I
see 'em
love
everywhere.
them. I'm like fucking Kate
It's John Locke.
Sawyer. Yeah, like I have to. I always have. I'm always gonna give a shout out to any of our Lost Cast people that I see. If I see them and I am aware of it, you'll probably hear me
Yeah.
make a reference to it. Well, that's all the information we really needed to worry about before getting into the movie. I think that's it's the people. It's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. It's a lot of stuff that might
We can't have them without those people,
well,
right?
and it's a
There's
lot of
no
the
movie.
information that wrecks us off of off topic too far. Again, not that the things are different now, like we've already mentioned, so it's not like as important, but
Yeah.
it still feels like some of the stuff should just be. It's better to say it now than like halfway through forget and be like, oh yeah, Nick Nolte, the picture.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Fucking 45 minutes
Yeah.
from now.
It feels better to just say that in the beginning, real
Yeah.
quick, talking about everybody, than it does to randomly forget and be like, "Oh, I wanted to say that." But so going from there, the last thing I think is it's not like trivia. It does fit with our cast, but segues into how I like to talk about the
Fun
opening of the
fact,
show.
right?
Our sound. Who's our sound guy? Do you know? Who does the
The
music?
music? It's Danny Elfman.
You always talk about you love Elfman. That's why I was like,
love
that's why I
Danny
wanted
Elfman.
I wanted
It's
you to
so
say it
good.
because you love
It's
him.
so great. But I found this out today. Did you know that there wasn't a different track of music entirely before the guy they had do it? I don't even remember his name. They fired him because it was all like techno Moby fucking shit throughout the entire movie.
So hackers.
Yeah, it was like that.
They wanted the hacker.
They
That
wanted
guy
the
had the hacker
Hackers movie and
soundtrack
shit.
for fucking Hulk.
Like
Man.
you know the scene where Talbot gets his ass
Yes.
beat and thrown outside the fucking house and it looks like he's dead and Hulk goes bouncing away and it's all just silent and you just hear the boom in our version. In the original version it was like
the
techno
beat.
shit was just like Hulk is here and then bouncing
Cheesy.
away. I was like, so I am so glad they fired
So
that
you're
guy.
telling me he was doing it like the Adam West Batman
Yeah, he was-
/ 70s Spider-Man.
Yeah, he was
like
going
crazy
super cheesy with it, and Ang Lee was like, "Get the fuck out of here," and called his buddy Danny.
Yeah, then he said, "Let me call up a professional."
Yeah, let me get a real musician in here. Get your synthesizer out of here.
Well, he called the right guy.
Yeah, he did.
If you want something to have some feeling, some gravitas, you
call
call
Danny Elfman.
The dude knows what he's doing.
And since him and Burton had heat at this point, he had time on his hands.
Well,
right?
and he didn't care to do a new superhero.
Right? He's like, hey, screw Burton. I'm gonna go do this one.
But yeah,
they're friends now, though. I think.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they
yeah.
patched it up. Danny Elfman definitely kills it with the soundtrack, but that's the perfect way to open it up because you know me, the opening songs can definitely make or break a movie sometimes. And again, you can't go wrong with Elfman.
Yep.
This song definitely does it. It's got that slow build, that heavy beat
in the background. It's just like creepy mad scientist music.
Well, it's both that and it's a reference to something that is said in the movie. It's remember when Bruce says he turns into the Hulk the first time? He said I could hear the heart, like I was born again the first time, and I could hear the heartbeat start. It's literally like his description of it. He makes sure to do his cheeks real big. Boom.
I like how he does that.
Yeah,
scene.
it's funny. But yeah, so this music definitely totally gives you that mystery and like science.
Because
I don't know how Elfman does it, but it makes you feel science.
Yep,
and
I'm about to watch.
Mysterious.
It's like I say, even without looking at the screen, just listening to the music, you're just like, I see test tubes,
right?
and
You just
bubbling
know that's what's
water
going
and
on.
electricity and shit.
And that is
exactly what we get.
It's
Just a montage of it.
The guy knows what he's doing. But yeah, we get this montage. We see some very specific things, though, right?
Yeah,
we need to address this.
Like
starfish
getting cut up. This is all David Banner, right? The dad.
David Banner's doing these science
back
experiments.
in the 70s. He's working for the government doing all these experiments. He's cutting up starfish, and then like it grows another starfish,
a sea cucumber or something. Like
he's just torturing animals. It looks like for a little while.
Well, again, the main reason I want to bring these up is because this is one of those. I guess I did have another fact, but this one makes more sense to tell you right now.
Yeah.
Ang Lee's wife is like a microbiologist. Like this science
Oh,
is
nice. So
real.
like all the like notes and shit that they flash
This
across
is
the
all based
screen,
on like some
all
real
the math
stuff.
and data
I don't
and
know about all
shit
that for sure, but I definitely know like the idea of like what's going on with him and like
is
the
real.
genetics of these different organisms.
Think she
and
was
things.
on set like schooling him on how to like use the equipment and shit?
I don't think it was that far, but she was definitely the one who helped write some of that.
Yeah.
Like made sure the science was a little bit more on
I
par.
now want to think that she's the one who wrote the notebooks.
I don't know. That'd be
Right?
cool
That would,
if
wouldn't it? That'd
it's
be
that in
dope.
depth. Like sometimes
Comes
they
home,
do
he's
that.
like, "Honey, you're a microbiologist. Write me some bullshit scientific notes in these notepads for me."
But yeah, we see that this is like you said, this is David Banner in the 70s. This is not Bruce. And I could understand certainly in 2000, like by today's standards, if you're watching this, you're so far separated from the
TV
70s
show,
Hulk
yeah.
that you probably don't get the reference. But in 2003, the viewing audience, like
was
we
still
were
on TV.
teenagers, so our parents taking us and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
I went and saw this movie
They
because of the
saw
TV
it
show.
and they remembered that one. And so they're seeing it at the time. These references were
Yeah,
there.
it was for them.
Well, from the
He's
the
even,
gate,
like dressed like
well, he's dressed
the
like
same character.
it is literally like the same character because that's why I want to make sure people know in the 70s TV show he was not Bruce.
Oh yeah, he was David Banner on the
He's
TV
David.
show.
And so literally everything about this intro could just be
The 70s,
TV
the
show.
70s TV show.
We are literally watching the TV show continuation.
Yeah, this is
almost.
what happened after the last episode. The government picked him up and then he got him a wife and shit.
We see as we go along that it's a lot more like this is the alternate universe.
Yeah,
because
see
things
that.
are different. But the beginning would totally have you believe,
It
like
would.
everything.
Even
in
the
beginning.
costume, you're like, he's wearing the exact
The
same fucking shirt.
The clothes look very much. Yeah, the one checkered
The
stripe
checkered
thing.
striped shirt.
Yeah, that is totally 100%. That is a David Banner from the 70s original outfit. But even beyond
Same
that,
car. Even I think the car he comes right when he comes racing home.
the
and
way
shit,
it's
I think
shot,
it's the same car.
the way it's shot, it both has the grainy film texture, but that's just because they want it to be the 70s.
Yeah, it's old.
But it is like
Yeah,
the
it is
show
like the
because of
show.
that. But even further than that, like just the way they did like because later on they make the panels feel like comic book panels,
Yeah,
right?
with the
Well, this
transitions
time,
and
like
shit.
at this part of the movie, there's some paneling, but it feels different, right? It doesn't feel like comic book per se.
No, it feels like the old.
It's
show.
like the old
it's,
show.
like
you get like the
Batman,
circle in
and
the
you gotta
middle, and
do-
it pulls out 4 frames to the outside.
Yeah.
Those are strictly from like that's how the Hulk used to. I feel like the intro even did that, like pulled
I feel
to
like
a
it did
circle,
too, right?
Right. It's so much referencing in the
The show
opening
back
to
in the
this
day.
to the original Hulk. Again, I love to see it because again, the MCU is good for a lot of stuff. Throwback references to inside to outside the MCU itself. Not so much.
No, they don't like to really do that, do they?
No, they're trying to because and it makes sense. They are trying
They
to
have their
forge.
own
They're
shit
trying to
going
forge
on.
their own way. At the same time, when you're a fan of this stuff, you like to see it. You
pop-
don't want it to be
you
so.
pop for Ferrigno when
Yes,
you see.
you don't want to. You don't want to be the kind of person who has to like devour a scene frame by frame to try to find the reference, and that's how the MCU kind of treats a lot of them, right? Like you want it to be the thing they just say out loud, and you get to be
It's
like,
oh look, if you
"Oh,
notice in that
I know that guy."
explosion, there was a C-3PO or something
Yes.
head flying past
that's what you
for
want.
no reason.
And so this movie shovels it to you
Yeah,
for sure.
Here you go. Do you remember the show? First
But
10 minutes, just a
And
love
like
letter.
I said, it's in the perfect way too, because like if you're a modern fan, certainly today, if
Yeah.
you are a Gen Z fan going in, you don't even know that you're being introduced to this
that
stuff.
makes me sad. That's right. They don't.
Yeah, they've definitely. I mean, when was the last time
They're
you saw
missing
the
out.
Incredible Hulk on TV, like the old Ferrigno? Like when we were, you take it for
when I was
granted.
in high
yeah,
school,
you take it for
right?
granted that when we were kids, it was still on syndication,
Yeah.
all over the place.
Seek it out. It's good. I'm pretty sure it's free on Tubi.
Oh, it was and they introduced like they did a lot of stuff before other places. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Go watch the movie with Thor. That one's real fucking funny.
There's yeah, it is because their interpretation of Thor was he looks
way more comic book.
No, he acts like the comic book, but his look is like straight up.
Looks like a Valkyrie. He's got the winged hat.
Well, his look is minus the hat though, is straight up just like fucking Viking though. Like because he's wearing the furs and shit
Oh
in
yeah,
the 70s. He's not wearing, he's not wearing the
the cool
red.
armor.
It's
and
not
the
red
cape,
cape
and
with
shit.
like silver ball.
No,
things.
he's got skins.
No, he looks.
And,
That's
like,
what I was getting at.
fur
He looks,
boots.
He looks like he is straight up from mythology, not from the
He
comics.
looks like he just came back from a bear hunt.
Yeah, he looks like this is straight up the Norse one,
Yeah.
not the comic book one. That's what I think is great about it. He acts very comic book
It was a
like.
cheaper costume. All they had to do
Oh,
was
it
go
was
grab some.
100% a
Like, here you
cheaper
go.
costume. They just grabbed stuff that was already existing.
Hey, there's a bearskin rug in here. They can use that as a cape.
Hey, works. If it works, go with it.
And we only got 30 grand to do this entire movie with. Of course, that's what we're doing.
During all of this opening of the movie, like we've said,
Yeah.
it's very 70s. We see a lot of crazy stuff going on. It really does. It sets up a lot of things for us, right? Like we see the experiments. We see that David gives himself the injections.
Yeah, because the government's like
they're shutting the program
General
down.
Ross, his early self is like you can't do that.
Pre-mustache.
Pre-mustache even. He's like, you can't do that. We can't authorize human testing. So David's just like, fuck you, I'll do it myself, and goes and just injects his serum into him.
His wife gets pregnant
Immediately after, so he's like, oh shit, did I give it to the
Well, he says
kid?
at first, he even says at first, curiosity. At first he
Yeah.
was like, sweet,
Maybe I did.
I learned something.
This fun experiment. Push the kid over, take his pacifier, see what happens. That pissed me off. It's like his first scene where he's like,
What?
the moms are all outside and he's
Dude,
just
it was the
playing with the
70s.
baby, and he's just like, I wonder if I can piss the baby off.
It was the 70s. That's
Meh.
not. That's still pretty meager compared to what science could have been.
Yeah, I guess. But the
He just pushed him.
baby's leg kind of turns a green
Yeah.
color when it gets mad.
So he knows things are.
He's like, oh, I
not
did
good,
definitely
right?
do something.
This is where we start to see some of the changes, though, right? Like after that, right?
Yeah.
He sees that things are like that. We still get this very 70s vibe, very much like the TV show throwback. He goes to his lab. He gets told we're shutting it down.
We saw
And
we
he
found
hulks
your,
out.
We found your blood DNA.
Yeah.
It's human. We told you not to do that.
But so he
Smashes his
hulks
fucking
out.
thing. Oh yeah, dude. I thought he was gonna fucking kill the guy.
That
look.
Well, and they when I say Hulk out, I mean it. Like the back shot of his head
Yeah.
is literally back to that whole original Incredible Hulk TV show. It looks like what the bad wig on Ferrigno
on
looked
Ferrigno
like.
was.
Like it's that very straight
Just waiting
hair.
for the shirt to rip.
Yes,
Right.
That when they had him kind. Did you notice? Like
just
he kind of hunches himself for a second, and it kind of gives you that. You're like, is it?
His
Are
shit's
they doing it?
unstable though. He's missing some stuff.
He's missing a lot of stuff right now. That's what I was just about to get to. So in this version, he never gets. If we were going to say this was the 70s and it took a split, the first split is that he's not there when the gamma explosion happens.
Yeah, that he said.
It's not a bomb.
Yeah,
I'm not worried about
it's
whether
just
it's a
an
bomb or not.
explosion.
It's because they're also doing
Burst.
science about gamma rays,
radiation
something
for
here.
something. So
But
he blows up the whole base.
reactor. It's like some kind of reactor.
Why he
says
have a key to that?
2 keys. He
Yeah,
stole
he-
someone's.
Did he knock out Ross and we just didn't get to see it?
Maybe. But so yeah, he uses the keys, he turns this thing, and he sets off this what is a reaction of events.
A gamma reaction.
And so for him to have stayed in line with the real 70s show, he would have had to have been exposed to the gamma rays.
Yeah.
He was not, right? We see he leaves.
He goes home to his
wife
and kid.
And for what we assume is going to be decent things. And again, we as viewers also think this is when he turns into the monster.
Yeah, because
we think
they go
that
in
he
the
does
room
still
and he's all
turn.
yelling and stuff, and then
We see the weird
weird.
hyperlapse footage of the animals.
Yeah, because Bruce is playing with his dolls and stuff,
Yeah.
and it starts going like really fucking fast, and then it turns around and the door opens,
Monster.
and you see like the silhouette of a monster, but
And you
it's,
hear it.
yeah, but it's just Bruce
Well, then
having
it
a
cuts.
nightmare because it cuts to him like when he's in college.
Well, I think the first one was high school.
Was it high school?
Maybe. They do that scene so weird.
Yeah.
Because it does feel like it's 2 different days, the way the length of the scene plays out. But since they're using the same actor for young Banner at that point, I can't tell for sure.
Seems like it's like the next morning. He had the nightmare, next day waking up to go to college.
But that also plays the conversation feels weird that she had with him the night before for that to be the night before
Yeah, it does,
college.
doesn't it?
That's what I mean. Like, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying like they left it too
So do you think it
ambiguous.
was like a reshoot? Like they went
I don't
back and added the scene
to
in
try to get some
later
more something
to,
in.
you know,
I don't know.
to be like, well, he got adopted, you know?
Yeah, but they still don't ever
Yeah, they
outright
don't
say
really
it.
out like say that, do they?
Not for a long time. In the beginning, the only way you can tell is if you're the kind of person who pays enough
Pays it
attention.
enough attention.
And I'm not gonna lie,
I'm
I
not that no.
I didn't notice until the very last viewing where I kept thinking like,
That was
oh,
his mom, right?
I kept at least being like, how was I supposed to not know,
That
right?
wasn't his
Yeah,
mom.
they didn't give me enough information. But then this last time, I actually really I was looking to see. I was like,
Really paying
maybe I'm
attention this
stupid,
time.
right? I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I'm stupid. Maybe I missed
It's usually
something.
my go-to is like, I'm probably the dumb one here.
I'm the dumb one.
Yeah.
So the original mom is like a brunette with brown eyes, and the mom that wakes him up, that he wakes up to from the bad dream and going to college scenes, blonde hair and blue eyes.
I missed it too. Don't feel bad. I
I
had the same
know.
exact fucking problem.
I know.
It's just I hate myself.
I hate that it took me so many times of watching the movie to
Right.
get it
It's
right.
like it shouldn't take that much to notice somebody isn't brunette, right?
Shouldn't.
Blonde's a very different color. Maybe if they're like kind of a dull red, you're like it's kind of brown. I could make that mistake. Coppery colored.
The last thing we saw from the dream that woke him up into seeing this
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 blonde
other
lady.
mom was the gamma explosion. I want to stress explosion. It's not a gamma bomb because that was one of the altar points, right?
Yep.
It just wasn't an important one. I wouldn't have cared how we got the gamma rays in as long as we got them, right?
This isn't David's story.
But yeah,
This is Bruce's
exactly.
story.
So that's why we get some differences here. But yeah, so then Bruce wakes up, goes off to college. Now we get real quick, like he ages
it
up. He's
immediately
done,
just
right?
next
Like,
scene, it's Eric Bana going to work.
Well, and it's Eric Bana going to work, and you can already kind of like they try to hide it well, right?
Yeah.
They try to put him in some clothes where you can't
Can't tell that he's in as good a shape as he is.
But then he stands next to the other actor, the
other
dorky guy he's supposed to
what's
work
his
with.
name? Harper.
Yeah, Harper, who in the comic books would have been a different character. Rick Jones.
Yeah, Rick Jones.
He would have been
That's the guy he saves from the gamma reaction.
Who also gets
I was gonna say,
powers.
doesn't he get his own fucking comics later?
So it would have been a cool reference for a movie that does really good with some references. I feel like that was a missed opportunity because it wouldn't have mattered. It would have a throwaway moment, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so you see him stand next to that guy, and you are kind of like, this dude's
you whip that motherfucker's ass. Look
big.
how you strong.
Well, then he rolls up making fun of him.
Yeah,
You're like, this is never how it would happen.
He's because his girlfriend broke up with him. The
Betty.
Jennifer
Again,
Betty broke up with him.
Jennifer
And he's
Connelly.
making
So set
fun
it
of
up
him.
for us.
Oh, were you wearing the stupid bike helmet when she broke up with you? I mean, you're kind of giving us a bad name even amongst us nerds here. It's like, man, what the fuck?
Well, and it's so crazy that that's even a topic of conversation because as
they opened with it, didn't even say hi.
Well, and as the movie slowly sets up for us, it's not like this breakup is recent.
Yeah, it's been a couple years, it seems,
or
like.
Something. It's weird,
long enough for them to be okay working in the same place together.
and them to have acknowledged that it was weird when they got the positions, like because that's the very next thing that fucking Bana says to Connolly Ross is that right?
Yeah,
is he literally is like, all these people just couldn't get over the fact that we had this past before we started working together, implying the breakup had happened before whenever this project, and this project is pretty fucking
yeah,
far
they're pretty
in.
far along at
They're
this point.
almost finished with this merging of 3 different scientific fields, right? Because we got like nanotech, we got some kind of biology going on. There's obviously medicine,
shit.
There's actual medicine that's happening here.
Because they have little medical nanobots that stitch you back
so
together.
one can assume they've been working on this project
for
since graduating college, right? Like literally, this is like whatever they did as their thesis in college got them this job.
Right, let's be super nice. Let's say they graduated college when they were like what, 25? So it'd put them in
8
about
years, something like that.
Put them about 34.
Yeah, so
right
like
now.
8,
so like 8
9
years they've been working on this. They dated 5 years ago. It's been 3 years since they broke up, but nobody will let it go.
It's very
She
strange.
kind of won't let it go either.
They both kind of won't let it go.
Right, right.
Either.
'Cause, like even later on, after the experiment fucking
I
fails.
felt like they could have done this and not made her the comic book girlfriend, and I'd have felt way better about it.
Yeah,
But I
she
felt
doesn't
like
have a whole lot to do.
they felt well. It's because they wanted Ross, dude. They wanted. And so they were like, let's make sure that we've got the daughter,
Yeah.
since that is a well-known girlfriend. But I really feel like we could have not had the daughter connection, just let General Ross be General Ross,
Yeah,
right?
probably would have been fine.
Would have been way better here, because I feel like the way they kept trying to hammer fist this previous relationship plus this, because we didn't need the relationship. It could have just been his lab assistant.
Yeah, she could have just worked at the lab with him.
Because even the scenes later in the movie where it's supposed to be dependent upon the fact that they had this relationship, it doesn't matter, because like all trust is blown between the two by that point, right?
Right.
Like, and she uses more of her, like, she's like, let me use the fact that I also know some psychiatry
Right,
to
like,
help you through
It's like
this.
I know him pretty good. I know he's fucked up. I can use my psychology
But she
degree to
doesn't use
help.
personal stuff to do it. She only
Yeah,
uses
'cause she goes at it
medical
from the
science. Yeah, yeah.
scientist.
So you get what I mean? Like we didn't need her to be Betty.
She even says that at some point. She's like, "I'm a scientist. I can help."
Yeah, they tried to shoehorn it in too hard.
Yeah, a little bit.
Especially with how many times they kept bringing up the like. Yeah, I mean,
Remember
we've
we
not
used
been
to
together. Yeah, yeah.
Remember?
It was a long time
It was
ago.
a while ago.
It's not now. We're not.
But we're
there.
gonna keep talking about it.
I'm still gonna get upset when other dudes talk to you, like
And
Glenn,
she's gonna get upset when he doesn't emote.
right?
Oh,
It's
you're so emotionally distant. Why don't you want to know what happened to your parents? And it's like, because they're dead, and I had nice adopted parents, and I'm a successful scientist. Why the fuck would I try to dwell on bad shit like that? The relationship shit could have just not been in this movie. Would have saved us 30 minutes.
But so then we get to see an example of the tests that they're doing,
the experiment.
right? The
with
experiment on the frog. Yeah,
I love this.
this was all fake. Do you know this?
Yeah, it's all
They tried it with a real frog.
Oh,
Not the
okay.
not actually hurting it, dude.
I was like, they did not explode a real frog.
They would
Those
never. But I just
monsters.
mean like all of it, like the part where it's just in there, like riveting and
just
breathing.
riveting and shit.
Didn't nobody like the footage of the real frog sitting
Did
there?
the real frog look fake?
Yeah, didn't move enough.
Isn't that funny how that works sometimes?
So they did the old school.
Hey
they
man, I
made
like
one.
it. It's an
They
awesome
put the little air pump in
animatronic
it and just squeezed it so that way it would go. Like the thing would expand. Yeah,
It's a pretty good animatronic frog.
I'm not gonna lie,
and
it's
it
good.
exploded fantastically.
Because we see it's missing something for what could be the Hulk process.
Yeah,
right?
the nanites won't stop.
Nanomeds.
Nanites are from Stargate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, nanomeds.
They don't know when to stop. They just keep regenerating tissue until you explode.
Well, and they start regenerating the wrong tissue. It looks like,
yeah, it's
right?
like once
Because
they fix the wound, it's just like, okay, go fix other things.
But there's nothing that needs fixed.
So
yeah,
they just keep building and building until
or
the frog.
something. Yeah,
what
because
I
it
took
starts
from
getting weird. Well, again, because it's
weird.
there's
pus.
cysts. Yeah,
It,
exactly.
starts coming out of
It's like
it.
cancerous or something. Like
Yeah.
it starts making bad cells at some point. I think
Cancer's a good analogy.
that's what I think it is. Yeah. Because again, it's just like the body doesn't know what to do. Those things don't know what to do because they fixed all problems, and so it's just like, well, we still have to do something.
Yeah, we don't have an off switch once we're done doing something.
But so it's made again. It's just to give us the glimpse of what they're doing,
Trying to do.
To see how the process works, to hear that they're working with gamma radiation. Right? Like it is part.
I think
of
that's where the nanomeds get their power from. You hit them with the gamma radiation, it activates them.
Yeah, something.
Yeah, science.
But as soon as we leave the room and see the failed mission,
They're just sad drinking beer in their office. Like, well, what do we tell the board now? You think if we have a plague of frogs, we got a real good way to get fucking rid of them.
I love that.
Yeah,
I love that
right.
she said that, and he tried to call her out on it. Like, I think how many beers have you had? You might have had
One.
too much. Yeah,
Bullshit.
He was trying to be
one.
like, you've had too much with that kind of crazy,
Right.
that kind of crazy talk. And then we see her leave the facility, right? And she bumps into the janitor as she's walking out.
Yeah.
What happened to
Benny?
Barry? I didn't catch it.
Where's Benny? Benny's dead.
And it's
Nick
again,
Nolte.
this is one of those things where it's like, You know that voice, that gravelly fucking
Yeah.
voice. Unless you have never seen him in something,
I find that hard to believe.
I do too, then there's no way you didn't know that's him. Now that doesn't mean anything because unless you read like something about the movie before going into it, you don't know he's playing.
Or you just hate him. You're like, oh, fuck Nick Nolte. I'm not
Well,
watching that
again, I
movie.
just mean like it's not giving away anything in the movie.
Yeah.
Right? Like unless you read the biopsy, unless you knew that he was playing David Banner, knowing that
That would ruin it.
that's what I'm saying. So hearing the voice doesn't give away anything other than it's Nick Nolte unless you've already read who his character
Yeah, somebody
is. Right?
leaked that to you.
But hearing that voice definitely lets you know that he's not some stand-in. He's
Yeah.
not some casual guy.
Random
He's
ass
not-
dude.
Yeah. This is a character you're going to see again because that's Nick Nolte.
And he definitely killed Benny. That's what I took from it.
I don't
Benny's
know.
dead. I feel like he killed Benny so he could have his job.
It's certainly a possibility.
That's what it seems like.
Because we know that he wanted the position.
Yeah, he needed to be in that
Yeah.
place.
He'd already pieced the information together.
My son is here.
The creepy
So
stuff.
now I will murder this poor old janitor and take his job so I can be close to him.
His hair right now is so disheveled. It literally almost has that look I was telling you about. That's that weird bad wig look from the 70s.
Nope, that's his real hair though.
I know. That's what I'm saying. They stylized it to where it like it's got that kind of look. It's got that look
Ang
like
Lee's
that.
just back here in the makeup trailer, just being like, "I want it to look as fake as possible. I want it to look like a wig."
This is also, I do believe, the part of the movie where we finally start to get some of the cool comic book transition shots.
Yeah, with the
This is officially,
blocks and
yeah,
the
paneling and stuff like that.
Yeah, paneling. That's the word I was looking
Because
for.
we're finally at a part where it's feeling like we're getting there, right? Like because everything else before this has been very much like
actual movie.
Well, and it's not even like set up, right? Like
we're taking it very seriously.
It's the way back story. It's not the setup to the Hulk yet.
Yep. Now we're starting
now
to get
getting
to
to the
it.
setup of the Hulk. So now we get the panels. Now we get we're in the comic book. Before we were kind of like, no. This is like pre-comic. This is like their world. This is the people that came before.
reality.
Yeah.
We haven't entered the fun, wacky
world
yet.
Now we are officially about to start getting to the things that are going to make this the comic book world.
This is the point where we leave them from their drunken pursuits, but we go back to see Bruce lamenting their lost relationship,
and shit.
right?
He looks at a picture and then it comes to life.
And we
And
slowly
it's like
then
a comic,
transition into that
the
moment,
picture.
Which was a cool way to
It was
do
a
the
nice
flashback.
transition.
But that was immediately thrown in the garbage by the fact that less than 30 seconds into this flashback,
We get a dream sequence flashback.
that starts off as just a flash. Like we're literally like,
Because she literally says, she's like, well, it starts as a memory of when I was a kid.
yeah, and so it's like, why did we have to flash back to the moment? Couldn't we have just like,
I feel like this could have
couldn't
been...
we have just like had them talk about
yeah,
this
this
or
could have been
something?
discussed while they were sitting there like drinking
With each
beer
other
and shit, right?
Yeah, right. They were drunk and then talked about this.
Yeah, because she brought up his fucking mom and dad during that scene. and
But
shit.
no, we had to see it all by flashback for some
through Eric
reason.
Bana.
Yeah,
we
and
get
it
her
was,
flashback through him.
yeah, and it doesn't even really give us much, right? Like it gives us that she was on the military base, but this is before he knows that about himself.
Yeah, it's just for us, the audience,
To be
we're
like,
oh, they
oh.
grew up on the same spot.
Even though, again, if we were paying attention and we know that they
Yeah.
were setting her up to be Betty Ross,
and she even says something about calling her dad and shit.
we would know, right? We would already know.
Yeah, we didn't need this.
It was, again, I like this. This is a great
it was
Hulk
a cool
movie.
shit, but there's some stuff where it's like,
There's
we didn't need this.
There's a few times where they probably, I mean, they could have made some other decisions,
Yeah.
and this is definitely one of them. During this, though, she has, like we said, it transitions from a flashback to a dream. Again, in her head, it's all the same.
Yeah.
So she doesn't really know when one turns into the other than the fact everyone disappears.
and it's just Eric Bana there with picking her up.
It's
as a little
Bruce
girl.
as an adult picking her up as a child.
and then
I don't
killing
even
her?
understand what that would mean from a dream
I don't
analysis purpose, but that is weird stuff, right?
We have to get Freud on that one.
It can't be good.
No.
Whatever it is, whatever that implies about
Why are you having
things
weird
in your relationship.
Weird dreams of me murdering you as a child. Like, you shouldn't be dating me then if you're having those thoughts.
This is when after that, right? He wakes up from his dream, his daydream, but at night, his desk dream. I don't know what you want to call it.
So it started as a flashback. It went from a flashback to a flashback, and then to a dream sequence of another person having a dream about the dream.
Yes.
Okay, I was making sure I could follow all that.
Well, and then he wakes up to immediately see the weird ass dogs outside.
Yeah,
with the guy with Nolte.
Yeah.
But he focuses more on the dogs than anything else, right?
Yeah.
Like
And
if
then
I
he
look
looks
out my
away and they're
window,
gone.
yeah, if I look out my window and I see 3 dogs, but then a dude with 3 dogs, I'm focused on the dude. The dogs are weird.
Dogs are weird, but the dude is what I'm concerned about.
Because again, all we can see is the shadow, but then like the glint of the glasses reflecting in the light.
Wild hair.
The guy is the scariest part. The glowing glasses.
Yeah, you can see the silhouette of like the wild ass Einstein hair he's got.
That would be the thing that I would focus on.
I'd be like, I'm calling the police now. But no, he looks away for a second and goes back, and they're gone.
No more.
Because Nolte has to go raid the lab for hair. That's all it takes, really, is some hair samples.
Yeah.
So you can go make sure it's actually Bruce Banner.
I feel like he already...
Yeah, he had to have already known, but I guess he had to prove it.
Yeah.
The DNA can't lie. One of those things.
The next day is when we finally see Glenn for the first time.
Yeah, because
right?
he wants to take over his experiments and move him
Glenn, who
Atheon, right? That's the company he works for.
I think it was It's something like that.
Yeah,
it's starts close with an A. Yeah. I'm very confused as to what his relationship with everybody is, because he implies he's known her since college, but it seemed like those two dated in college, but Bruce doesn't seem to know who Glenn is beyond recent year. I don't know.
I don't either.
It seemed very awkward.
This is part of on base together when she moved from the desert.
Well, that's what they imply that they knew each other from a base, but again, we don't know if it's grown up. We don't know what it is.
They went to high school.
Yeah,
together.
something. It's again, this is part of why I wish they didn't focus on making her Betty, and this is just one of those things. Pre-MCU, they didn't know how to go about doing this. You know, like once we got to the MCU, they realized like, hey, we don't have to have the relationship be the big one right away. We can either not worry about it or just know we're going to build up to it.
Yeah, we can tease her in the first movie.
They weren't ready for that, and so they thought they had to ham-fist the person we know.
Yeah.
I think they could have gotten away with it. And
her again, just being like the assistant.
It would have made this scene better too. If we weren't worried about how the relationships panned out right here, I would have felt way better about Glenn showing up.
Yeah.
And being Glenn. Because again, the fact that he likes Betty, they try to play up, but it really has almost no impact on like him being the antagonist that he is later, has very little to do with that. He uses it to make to try to make Bruce mad
off.
But even that didn't work. So that's not what makes him the antagonist, right? Like,
no, what makes him the antagonist is that goddamn cattle prod he fucking takes to him.
Well, and the fact that he is running that experiment and all this, like,
goes around the general's back. All this other shit.
None of that has anything to do with Betty. All of that is literally just he's the guy running the program. He's the guy that got cut out of the program. You know what I mean? Like,
we cut Betty out completely, and we replace him with Rick Jones, the guy he was supposed to. Yeah.
I think that would have worked better. Well, because again, like this, it just seems
bestie,
right? It seems just so hand-fisted.
Yeah,
getting her here.
We got to have a love interest.
Well, and they don't even really play her like.
I know
they don't even really play her like that for most of the movie, though, right?
No, not till like the very.
Well, and
end.
by that point.
When she's all like,
she's
even then she's still kind of done with him.
He shouldn't be trusted. Well, and he should be done with her.
Yeah,
because goddamn, we've not got to it yet. But literally, right now, basically, she's about to start making decision after decision where it's just like, fuck what the word trust might mean, right? Like, I mean, it's just like crazy the shit that she does. This is when we finally have our lab experiment gone bad. This, like I said, we started getting our paneling a couple of scenes ago because it's when we officially hit comic book world. If we're officially in comic book world, what's the first thing we need to see? We need to see Bruce
turn in. Yeah, we need to see the accident.
Yeah, right? At least the accident. We don't need to see him be the Hulk, but we need to know that he's set up to be the Hulk, right?
It doesn't work without this.
And so that's what we finally have, right? They're doing the experiment again.
Harper's in there working on the machinery.
He's trying to
trips a wire or something.
Does something.
He does
Causes
does something stupid.
causes the nanomeds to open, but then Bruce runs up in time to make
He
he's
gets the
there when the
mask
gas
on him.
yeah the puff still hits him, and he's not able to stop the machine.
They can't stop it. So he
Well, the problem is that it's that they can't start it really, right? Like, well, it's a double. It's that
Yeah.
because their gamma thing is like a ball, right?
yeah,
For lack of a better
a
term,
giant ball
That
reactor
closes and shoots the radiation from every angle.
Yeah,
And so the problem they're having is that it's kicking on while open. So they have a dual problem here. They want it to not work or be closed.
right.
And it won't do either of those things. It will not stop and it will not close. So Bruce throws what's his name?
Harper.
Dude, like they say it once. I'm so proud of you for knowing that.
It's because
That's normally
I like the name. I was like,
that's normally a me thing to be like
Right.
this guy who's not important at all. His name, yeah, Harper. Because to me, it's always I'm just like he should be Rick Jones.
You really should.
Because this would be the Rick Jones.
Yeah,
moment.
in the
You
comic
throw
book.
him out of the way,
Dives
stand in front of the
dives
radiation.
in front of the thing.
He literally stands in front of it and just drapes his arms across it.
Yeah. Not nearly enough of you, man.
Well, not only is it not enough, especially for, again, like I was already saying, this is a ball that was shooting radiation from every angle, right? And we all understand rays and the way gamma rays work. It's kind of like a sound wave almost, really. Bounces off of things.
Mm-hmm.
This is bouncing off the walls. Poor fucking
Harper dies.
I mean,
He
dude,
dies.
Real
life, he's gone. He's cooked.
Slow and steady.
He'll die.
Death
Yeah, he'll probably take
gamma
longer
radiation
to die.
poisoning. Yeah,
He was a little further away, so
he was further
gets an
away.
extra week.
He was getting the bounced off
Yeah.
radiation. He was not getting the full isotopes. But yeah,
So-
like
bought him an extra week, right?
to me, I was like, this is why we shouldn't have made it a ball, right? Like,
yeah,
we
it should have just been like one
It should
thing.
have been a ray gun.
Yeah,
like
50 style with the big balls
Yes.
on it. Oh, it would have been awesome.
But no, the ball is here. He drapes himself across it. Like I said, again, like you said, it's not enough, but it's literally so much not enough that as he does it, you can see the
You can
lines
still see
of
Harper
exposed
behind him.
places. You see Harper through the
Like,
lines.
through
That's
him,
what's
you're like,
crazy.
Like, you're not really covering nobody, man.
Yeah, you're just like, that's not.
I appreciate the heroics,
but that's not how science works.
No.
He would be gone.
that and at that range, the gamma rays are just gonna go right through you into him. You're squishy.
And we see he is okay.
Yeah, he's fine.
Right? Oh,
Has a little bit of a mind trip before he
we have-
wakes up.
Well, also we have to mention, we almost forgot. It's our last nod to the 70s. Because it goes 70s vision again when he gets
Yeah.
radio, when he gets blasted by the gamma
Irradiated.
rays, right?
It's almost got the weird like
Yeah. And so again,
from the show.
we have to mention the last one because after this point forward, they are officially setting their own tone.
Yep, they're
no
going their
more
own way from
throwback
then.
references, no more nods, no more. I mean, it is officially
We're done.
we are in our Hulk now, right?
Ang Lee's just there. He's filmed that last scene. He's like, okay, checklist. We're done. No more references.
We got it. Good. Moving on. So like
Fan
we said,
service done.
yeah. Now we see the things that are a little bit different. Like we said, he woke up. He's fine.
His good knee is now his bad. His bad knee is now his good knee.
He is.
Fuck! I wish that would happen to me.
He is totally healed, better than before.
Yep.
Again, this isn't even one of those things where it's like what the experiment the experiment they've been doing would have said if he had got hurt in the accident that would heal, right?
Yep. This just fixed everything that's ever
Everything.
happened to him.
He is now in peak physical condition. Noted, as I've already said, Eric Bana already looked in peak physical condition. This is not what
To
did
be
it.
fair, you don't really ever see him in
I
like
know,
a
this is the
t-shirt
first time-
up to this
yeah,
point.
he's in the bed and you see like
Yeah.
you're like, God damn, he's
Yeah,
cut.
yeah,
but
fuck.
then he immediately is like, it's because of the gamma rays.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Again, this is like we said, this is known to us, not known to anybody else in the movie yet, but he is like this, unlike his dad, for maybe multiple reasons, right? His dad has whatever he did to himself,
Yeah, whatever weird serum.
but
he
whatever
came up with.
happened to him is still going to be different because his is gone through a generation, right? So
Yeah.
it's just different.
It got filtered.
But then on top of that, we have now the gamma exposure, which his dad never had. His
Yeah.
dad did cause a gamma explosion,
But they
he
were
was not
really
there.
far
He was
away.
too far away for that. So he never had that. So we got another factor here. And then on top of all that, we have the nanomeds.
Little
there's, like,
robots constantly
so
trying
many
to fix
factors
in this in trying to explain why he is this way. I only want to point this out because from this point on, the dad acts like he knew
Like this was gonna happen.
that this was the potential that would get unlocked, and he even made it seem like he knew the gamma stuff was what would do it.
Yeah.
But again, that's not true here.
It's not even.
It's so not true that even when the dad goes to do it to himself,
Yeah, he doesn't.
he exposes
Fucking-
himself to
yeah.
the nanomeds.
He says at some one point, he's just like, "That was your experiments were the key. I didn't think of the radiation or something like
Right,
that." And I'm
and
like, then how come you act like you like from the day he was
He
two?
acted
From the
like
day
this-
you popped his pacifier out of
This
his
is what was
mouth
gonna
and
happen.
pushed him over, you thought like, "Oh,
Well-
I've created this mega monster."
Well, and again, flip sides, right? Like he keeps going back and forth. Like, should this monster live? Should we research it more? Should I become this monster?
should I have just killed it?
So many things. He can't figure out what he wants to be, do, or how to be. I don't
But
know.
he's totally sane though.
Of
He
course.
tells us that here in a second when he pops into the
In the
into the-
middle of the night,
just
over
ran-
top of the bed. Man
just
looks
hovering.
supernaturally hovering
Just
over
like,
top of him.
"Hi, Bruce.
And he's
I'm your dad."
exactly. He immediately like no talk, no like, hey, I've been watching you from afar.
Doesn't even
None
say
of that.
dad. He's just like, "You're my flesh and blood."
And
it's
Bruce is like,
"Okay, crazy man."
And then and all he comes back with is like, sure, you've sensed it. And dude, it's literally like, it's the first time he's laid eyes on you.
Right?
He fell out drunk the night before whenever she met him in the hallway.
Yeah.
Literally.
He hasn't seen you yet.
He saw you through the window when you looked like a shadow monster with glowing eyes.
Somebody-
He has never met you, my
The
man.
only time I've seen you is when you were cosplaying Michael Myers out in the fucking street, buddy.
Oh, now you want to tell me you're my dad?
Who the fuck are you?
Right? Oh, it's so crazy. But he kind of hints at him. He's like, "Oh, they've never told you?
Yeah,
You're the experiments." Again, the way he says it implies like you were the experiment, which he was, but not no, he wasn't part.
yeah,
it wasn't
actually
planned.
part of the experiment.
And to that fact, do we even know the government didn't know that Bruce was the one, right?
No, I don't
They
think
knew
so.
it was a person.
Yeah, they just said we found human blood in your
And
in your
after
lab.
the way he freaked out and did everything, obviously they would have just assumed it was him. Why, when, and how did they know? Maybe his blood. Maybe they matched it up.
Yeah, I
after.
might have.
But it all seems very.
It does.
It's very contrived right now for this moment with Nick.
We had to do the weird microbiology shit. We had to fit it in somehow.
Again, all of it to lead to the weird bed conversation. Bruce somehow manages to go. I'm gonna say it's because he's still dealing with shock and is just like exhaustion, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know about you, I don't think I'd go back to sleep after that.
No, I'd be like pushing that little nurse call button, right? Like somebody get the fuck
But
in here.
apparently, he just goes back to sleep after the man dehovers
Right.
from above him.
Tells it he leaves and stuff. He's just like, "Well, I'll see you again. We're gonna work on your temper and shit." And
No, he tells him. He starts to get a little bit mad. And
Yeah.
he says, "You have to work on that."
and then like, just
Again,
I'm going
how
back
does
to
he
bed
even
now.
know? How does he even know?
that's a good point.
Right now, he's not made the lab rat even. That's literally
Right,
the next thing we
that's
see
the
is him
next thing
making the lab rat, and then he makes the dogs. At this point, he has no point of reference to know why or if Bruce should keep his anger in check. Other than the fact that he has an anger
I was gonna
problem.
say he's an angry man.
But it didn't seem like he was saying it from like a we have anger management issues
Yeah, no,
point
to
of
like
view, and
he
it
knows
seemed like
something.
he said it. Yeah, it seemed like he said it from a
That's a good.
boy.
Don't you turn green on
Shit's
me?
gonna get weird if you don't keep calm.
Don't you get green on me, motherfucker? I'm your dad.
I don't know. It's very.
That was
strange.
weird. I didn't catch that. Those are good catch, man.
Yeah, this is when she goes to talk to her dad. Her dad he just came to town. She'd already mentioned
Like
he
she was
was
gonna
coming,
call him,
right? Like
yeah.
it was crazy. He came on his own. She didn't have to call him.
He called me. It was weird.
When they're at dinner, Dad immediately drops the bombshell. I know who. Well, it's crazy. He drops the bombshell and then acts like she knows. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Like he's like, surely, you know who your lab partner here
Yeah,
is,
you
right?
know who this Bruce guy is, right?
And she's like, no, what do you know?
Like, what are you fucking
and it's
talking
just
about?
like, what the fuck is going on?
And then he just turns around. He's like, well, I'm not at liberty to say. He's like, why the fuck did you bring it up?
But this is the part where it really becomes very evident. He did not know this years-long boyfriend
who
of
she was
hers
dating.
because he
They
is totally
really don't talk.
He literally only is referring to the guy as her lab
Her
partner,
partner, yeah.
never as ex-boyfriend, never as anything else, never as the guy I saw at Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that dumb shit you brought to Thanksgiving.
None of those
kind of
things.
robotic. Didn't really emote much,
Right? During this, shortly after this, right, is when we get the conversation with her and Bruce about the fact that she told her dad,
Yeah,
and that he might just go to the lab.
Yeah, he might.
This is
just
on the
come in.
phone, right? They're talking on the phone.
Yeah, he's gonna go to the lab and fucking confiscate shit because the government's moving in. This is when Bruce was like already starting to get pissed off because
he was having memories.
He was doing his blood work thing and he saw the weird shit and then it started triggering the memory. So
He
he's
had
already
memories.
he's already half enraged with the phones going off.
And then she's like, "They're gonna tear up the lab.
Yeah, they're gonna
or do something. My dad's crazy. Who knows?"
I kind of.
Do you know what she didn't tell Bruce? My dad knows who you are.
Yeah, I didn't even mention that once. Just gloss over that. It's fine.
She said it has something to do with you. But at this point, that could mean goddamned anything.
Right. They think you're a spy or something.
He does hit her with the information about his dad.
Yeah.
As crazy as that is. It's like, yeah, this guy talked to me.
Yeah, just said he was my dad. It's fine.
What? Whatever. We see him finally Hulk out the first time.
I love this shit. I love the practical effects of him just raging around the lab and shit because he's all CGI at this point. But the lab is still just exploding and shit's thrown across the room.
This is so
I don't know
much
how they did it.
I'm not sure. This is so much fun because we see finally we're like I said, we're done with our 70s references, but we get a comic book reference. If you notice, his skin looks a lot more gray. It's kind of because of the shadows.
Yeah, because it's dark.
But if you really look, again, because it's CG, they made the decision to make sure you were seeing the
kind
gray.
Of a grayish
Because it'd be a
green.
nod to the fact that the Hulk started off as the gray.
Yeah.
It was very original, was gray. They just had an issue with printing that.
I would imagine that would be hard.
It was expensive. And so he was like, okay, well,
what's turning green?
What's your cheapest thing?
Yeah, what's your cheapest color? Green? Fuck yeah. Green is
then
great.
he's a green monster with green hair. Sold.
Yes.
Done. Purple pants. Though.
Purple pants. Not like the purple Hulk with green pants.
Well, you gotta have everybody has an inverse, man. But yeah, so we see this is a awesome transition. It's his first transition, so this is before he's really powerful.
Yeah, he's still
small.
He's still kind of small Hulk.
He fits inside the building fairly.
Yeah.
And you're like later Hulk would not fit in the hallways.
Yeah,
here.
he even has a hard time like yanking the ball reactor out of the
definitely
wall.
He's definitely not at full strength yet, right?
Catches the side of Dad peering out from the janitor's closet, I guess, and shit. He's just like, oh shit.
Yes. Makes him angry.
Yeah, but he like tries to be all like my son again and like reaching for his face.
I think he thought he was gonna calm the beast, right? And it's like, dude,
no, you just made it worse.
Yeah,
man. Like he immediately just jumps through the roof.
Fuel to the fire, right?
Fucking Nolte just laying on the ground, just being my Bruce. He's acting his ass off in this movie.
But yeah, he exploded everything in the lab, including the gamma core thing.
He chucks
right?
it out. I like it when he first picks it up. We get a little bit of like Atlas holding the world up for a second.
That's exactly why I wanted to bring it up.
And he's like, "Oh shit!" and fucking throws it out the window. It's perfect for like a half second that it falls.
Yeah, once all of this is done, though, we very much see that Bruce turns back to himself after his rage.
Yeah, werewolf style. He's
back at
home.
Not understanding exactly what's going on. Betty shows up. Betty's just like,
"Were you at the lab?" So the lab got fucking wrecked.
I don't know what you're talking
He's
about.
He's like, I'm going to eat literally everything in my house because I'm so hungry.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I was wrong. This is when he tells her about the dad. About his dad, yeah. Which is crazy. It could have happened the night before. I guess it doesn't really matter. It would have mattered for nothing for anybody because she's not had another run-in. The only reason we even get him telling her, because again, it seems crazy to me that he tells her.
Yeah, I guess he just kind of
He doesn't believe it, kind of. He thinks it's delusional.
it's part of like a dream. He's like, I had a dream. That old man was there. He said it was my dad.
But the main reason we even get it is just so that way she knows who to go talk to
later
for more information. Yeah. It was a clever ploy to give us a reason for her to know that's what she should be doing, right?
Then General Ross shows up with Banner's wallet,
with everything.
Yeah,
he's got,
it's like
armed men rounding the house and everything.
Fucking makes Betty
Comes
leave.
in, calls him by Banner, not the other name. Well, no, he gets more than
Bruce
half of it. He gets more.
Kessler.
I would say he got the N out. I would say it was Bruce
Ban Kessler.
Yeah.
Ban Kessler.
Certainly,
German.
Yeah, certainly enough that they all knew he was trying to call out the other name. Which is funny because I don't think they know that that's the name yet, right? Like, I don't think the dude introduced his last name. He didn't say, like, I'm David Banner.
No.
Did he? So
I'm just the janitor. I don't think he ever said his name.
I don't think that anybody gets the connection to what he started to say. Other than that, he does know. That's all that he gave away, is that he is a dickhead that
just
knows.
Didn't want people to go, who?
But he also sits down and starts calling him on it, right? Like,
you and your dad are in this together, aren't you?
I don't even know who that is.
You bullshit. You both went into the exact same field.
You were there, right? That's what he says. You were there.
You saw it. How do you not remember something like that when you see it?
This is so messed up. Again, us as a viewer, if this is your first time, you don't know what he's referring to. They do still make it seem like maybe his dad turned into a monster back in the day, right?
Yeah.
But we know the truth. We know that this man knew that his mom got killed
by his dad
and was trying to lay that on him hostile like.
We know you saw your dad stab your mom right in the chest. I know it because you were right there. Now tell me.
And what would that have any connection to all of the rest of this?
And then he acts like surprised. He's like, oh, repressed memory. It's like, oh, okay. Why wouldn't you immediately have thought of that? That's pretty fucking traumatic for, what, it was like 4, 5 when that happened?
This is exactly why you should keep better tabs on a kid like that.
Yeah, not just ship him off to fucking orphanage after you throw his parents
never
in
know
jail.
where he ended up or whatever the hell this is.
Just collateral damage. That's what he says, right?
Yep. But so, yeah, he tells Betty's got to go. They take him sequestered.
Yep.
He can't talk to anybody. Just stay away for a few days.
Yeah, you just go away.
What a dickheaded move. And then she immediately bolts off to go see
David.
Right?
Yeah.
Why?
It's the only lead
Again, no, I get it.
Guess?
The conversation is the only reason why, which is why we had to have the dumb conversation about him being like, crazy man said he's my daddy.
Yeah.
But again, I still feel like out of all the places she could go right now, as far as she's concerned, and Bruce, she ran to the crazy man who believes he's my dad. Not maybe somebody who could help her,
right?
Gotta
make sure.
Not
he's
maybe
crazy.
to the lab to see if she could work on a cure. Not anything
she could salvage
useful.
some kind of security footage.
Because at this point, she's already even speculating that he was whatever caused the damage. She doesn't know what it was. She doesn't know yet.
He drove a truck through the building.
Yeah, she's pretty sure he was there. And so she's,
my dad did find your wallet, so I shall go talk to crazy man who lives in the fucking slums down by the port.
Yeah.
And then he proceed for 5 minutes to be the creepiest motherfucker in the world when she gets there.
Yes. No, he does so much creepy stuff. He steals the scarf.
Yeah, the scarf from her so he can get her scent.
He sits way too close to her.
Puts his hand on her
practically
leg.
Sniffing her.
Right. Then he starts talking about the crazy shit about them throwing him in jail and all this
hinting at weirdness that
they don't know. They don't know what he is, but we do. But we can't help him anymore. You know.
And she's just like, we what, motherfucker?
What the fuck are you talking about?
There's no we here. There's you. Are there more than one in your head, sir? We? Is that the we?
Yeah.
I mean, David is certainly way more insane than he thinks he is. Right? Like, he thinks he's still pretty
he thinks
normal.
He's totally fine. This is the most rational shit to do in the world.
He also talks to her a bit like all of a sudden they're in Romeo and Juliet, right? Like he is somehow trying to save her from her dad and the horrible fate that could be waiting the two of them
because
because they're from
he's like, you don't know your father like I do,
right.
It's like, well, I mean, your only beef is he threw you in jail,
like
and
I
stopped your research.
She's known him for 30 years. I'm pretty sure she has a pretty good idea of who he is. You've not talked to him in 30 years. I think she might have a better idea.
Oh, she totally does. She's like, I know my dad's a dick. That's why I haven't talked to him in 5 years. Like, literally, 2 days ago was the first time I had talked to my dad. And now look what's happening. He stole my boyfriend, or ex-boyfriend.
After this, we see the reason why he why he stole the scarf, right? He has created mutant
dogs. Pets. These were his pets.
That's the fucked up pets, dude.
Wasn't just like lab dogs. Like, yeah, these were his like highly trained, loyal fucking pets.
He tried it out on the rat. The rat looked nuts.
Yeah, the rat was evil.
And then he decided to redo the exact same experiment on his pets. His spent poodle, a lot of time with
his poor French poodle.
Trained pets. This man is so beyond sadistic. But then he sends his dogs off
to go deal with Betty.
Yeah, and so the next thing,
why he needed the scarf. Here's the scent.
The next thing we see is the weird burner call.
Yeah, when did he put that in fucking Bruce's house?
I don't know. But we get the burner call,
fucking cell phone under his couch,
and to tell him, hey, everything's gonna be okay. Because again, he's still trying to act like he's the dad.
I'm taking care of it.
Yeah,
don't
he's still
worry.
trying to act like I'm the good guy.
I'm gonna kill the bad lady, and then we're gonna get you out
Bruce
of where
is like,
you're
what do
at.
you mean?
He's like, oh, I sent my four-legged friends after her.
Don't worry, I've made some alterations.
Yeah, they're a little unstable. They're not like you, but we'll just see how the experiment runs. And he's
so insane. But then before Bruce can even like react to this moment, what happens?
Fucking Glenn.
Talbot, dude.
Fucking Glenn
what the
shows
fuck
up.
Is this guy,
He kicks his way in the door past security.
This little shithead.
Because he got cut out of the deal.
He left the military and still is now acting like he has control over these soldiers
outside.
What a power trip this dude's got, right? Yeah, he's mad. He feels like he got cut out of the deal. Again, Bruce had nothing to do with this.
No, he didn't have anything to do with it.
Fucking Ross took him out because it became a national security issue, right? Like it's because
we have a monster on the
until
loose.
We can figure this out. We don't want you doing tests because we don't trust what you guys are going to do.
Fuck
with
that.
It. Right?
Glenn wants his samples so he can make his super soldiers that are self-healing and make fuck tons of money.
Right. Again, this is our connection to some Ultimates, like I was saying. Yeah, like the Spider-Man from the time was Ultimates. This being based on a super soldier, I feel is like a very Ultimates kind of comic book basing. But yeah, he definitely, there's this strong underlying hint, especially from Talbot and the early experiment, that somehow they were trying to find a way to do this to lots of people, right? And that's definitely a problem.
We need to recreate the Captain America thing,
essentially,
but on a mass scale.
Yeah. This was definitely not the one.
Yeah, no, this didn't work.
Talbot, though, he gets it. This is so crazy. This is the one time he tries to use the relationship that we didn't need to know about to some kind of effect, right? He does get Bruce a little bit angry right now when he mentions Betty. But the problem is he doesn't even mention like Betty going for him. He just mentions
Betty's in danger.
Not being not Bruce to Glenn. Glenn, when he's trying to piss Bruce off and trying to talk, he's like, you can't talk about her. You're not allowed to make threats like that. You know, he starts saying all this stuff, but he's saying stuff that's not like in a relationship way, right? Like they set it up like Glenn was going to be able to use. The reason we knew that they knew each other before was that they were going to use it. He doesn't.
First.
Yeah, that is not what happens. He literally just he only uses the fact that Betty is not with Bruce.
Kicks the door in.
Anybody
like,
could have
you
used
had my sloppy seconds.
Yeah, that would have made sense, but that's not what we got.
No.
Again, like I said, we could have not had Betty. This all would have still
worked just fine.
Because Glenn still had a reason to be in Bruce's house.
They're fucking with my money here now,
right? So I just always, it seems so weird. But so Bruce though does tell Glenn, dude, back it up.
Yeah, she's in danger, man. You're pissing me off.
You're pissing me off.
We don't actually get don't make me angry. You wouldn't like me if I'm angry.
This is the closest we get.
He just says, you're making me angry. And Glenn does that big shit eating.
He's so happy. He's like,
oh,
oh, yeah.
am I?
But then he realizes he fucked up. We start seeing the change.
Just fucking, and then cut to the outside of the house and fucking
Thrown.
he just throws Talbot through the window with a couch.
And he lands, and then he goes outside, and this second throw, where he throws him into the other person.
Yeah, and then he just smacks his face off the concrete. That shit should have killed him.
I was shocked to see him alive. Don't be wrong, he's fucked up when you see him the next time.
Neck
well, and he's in the
on
like
crutches,
yeah.
his arms in a sling.
But I didn't expect to see him again. I thought he was
in the original script he was supposed to be dead, and they were like, "That's a little too dark."
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I mean, for the Hulk, who's supposed to be a superhero,
is it too dark? What happens? What happens now? He goes to fight some dogs.
They're not human.
He kills these dogs, these pets.
All right, one of them bit him in the dick. It had it coming.
I understand. I understand.
The only one I feel bad for is the fat, chubby-faced one. It's cute.
But I am just saying these were innocent pets.
That's true.
Literally like 48 hours ago.
Nice loyal ones too, man. Like they did exactly what they were told.
If you're going to tell me that this movie's okay with him, where's the ASPCA right now? Where's PETA? You're telling me
they're busy.
You're telling me that they were okay with this, but I should be all right with. I mean, Glenn, fuck, dude. Let's just see.
No, he lands like neck first on the curb.
That's
There's
what I'm saying.
No way he's alive.
If we're gonna let if we're gonna let the scene with the dogs happen, we should have let Glenn just be dead.
Just let him be dead.
That's all I'm saying. But yeah, we do get a massive battle though with our dogs.
Yeah, I was gonna say later on when Glenn actually does finally die, it's even the most cartoony death ever. Is with the big explosion behind him, and he just goes the pose. So even when they actually kill him, they couldn't make it dark.
No. Well, and the movie the dogs get the darkest killing.
Yeah, they do. This is
nobody
like
else
the darkest scene in the movie.
The only other people that die are people that die like in a helicopter crash, right? So like you're not close enough for it to.
It's implied that none of them die because they'll show you like the one guy who made it. Like he comes crawling out of the tank. It's like no, everybody else in that tank is fucking dead. That guy's just lucky.
Well, especially these helicopters.
Yeah, these
when these things went down, nobody was surviving inside these
down like
boxes.
8 pieces and shit.
Yeah, the dog fight is probably is the most brutal with a living fight.
It's the best fight too in the movie. It's my favorite one.
We see though he obliterates the dogs, and I mean obliterate. Like when each one dies, they see like
into a green mist,
which is really fucked up because we know that means blood, right? Like their blood is now green radiation. So if you were to
actually manage to make the Hulk bleed, it would just be like a bright green ooze. Yeah. That's cool. I kind of want to see that
because it's all gamma radiation, right? Like
they should have done that. Like when he takes the tank round later on.
They wanted to be so badass we don't see blood.
Give me some radioactive fucking green blood. That would have been dope.
During the battle, which was taking place at the cabin.
The cabin from the flashback, dream flashback.
The notoriously crazy flashback within a dream, within a dream, within a flashback, within a... I don't know.
Go back 20 minutes. I explained it pretty good.
Yeah, it was good, but it's confusing.
Yeah, I forgot by now. But it's this place.
It's that cabin. While the fight is going on, we see Betty not leave.
She had the chance to. She's in the car. It started.
It does get fucked up after that, but she could have left before
just turns
it gets
the
fucked
car
up.
Off.
Exactly. She should have been gone.
Right? I would.
I don't think Bruce would have judged her at all if he would have woke up and she wasn't there.
Yeah, he'd have been like, "Oh, good, she got away.
I did what I needed to.
I saved her."
No, of course not. Though that'd be too easy.
Nope. Smashes the shit out of her car because the poodle finally gets it. It's like going through the windshield. And he Hulk body slam from nowhere and just takes out this whole car, just smashes the whole front of it in. I'm like, damn, you almost killed her, man.
Hey, gotta do what you gotta do.
I guess. But I like how he lands on the dog and it just immediately turned into mist. Just
once the fighting's done, he sulks off.
Hulk butt.
Yes, Hulk butt. Kind of wanders sulkily to the trees.
The water's edge and shit.
I know we need to know that he's up. Even the monster is upset by what just transpired.
And he calms down finally.
Yeah, turns back, and we see Betty calls her dad again.
right afterwards, she like gets him like after he turns back into human, gets him into the cabin and calm and in the bed. She immediately goes outside, calls her dad, like, "Hey, I am in way over my fucking head. Come help me."
It's
Which I kind of get after what she
I
saw, but you're still kind of ratting
but
your
she
boy out,
had to know. She's already seen the crazy shit her dad did
right?
once.
She had to know what was going to happen.
This seems like a
And she
dumb
acts
call.
surprised in the morning when they trank him and fucking haul him off.
And she tells him it's all going to be okay.
I'm taking you somewhere safe. And
They get there, and then
when they get there, you know what this bitch says to him? Has the gall to goddamn say to this man with all his post-traumatic stress, "You're home."
I know.
Fuck you.
In the middle of this military base, locked all to
chained
shit.
to the bed.
You're home. It's okay.
It's okay. Fuck you.
Like I said, she's insane. There's no trust anymore.
I liked her up to this point. When she's up to the point where she called her dad and ratted him out, I was like, "Oh, well, fuck you, lady. I don't like you anymore."
Well, this is... yeah, okay, I'll give you. The first time she didn't call her dad, you're right. The dad showed up on his own. She had no part in that.
Yeah. She said she was going to call him, but he beat her to it, I guess.
But yeah, so this is like we said, it's so messed up. He wakes up, he's in this totally crazy place. This
fucking
bitch,
white room.
This bitch that he just watched, like, stand there and tell him everything's okay after he got shot with these crazy darts, and dragged to what is essentially the facility from Resident Evil, right?
Yeah,
this is the
kinda.
Beehive facility
That's underground.
Yeah, it's the Hive, right? That's what they call it.
Yeah, the
Resident
Hive.
Evil. This is the Hive from Resident Evil. It's where they take him, and she's just like, "You're home, locked away from the world to see you," and she's
forever.
She's still acting like everything's okay. And then her dad tells her like, "No, we're just gonna put him under, and he's never gonna see the light of day again."
Yeah.
And now she acts surprised.
Yeah, this is where she's all like, I'm a scientist, and I believe for like with science we could fix him, and man, all this other shit.
Daddy, let him go.
Yeah.
Essentially.
Daddy, you're not listening to me.
But I love him. But again, that's not even what she says. That's not even what she says.
That's not what she says.
Because again, they only let the relationship make sense if a jealousy point might come up, but not in a point where like this, where it could help.
Yeah.
Like it could be brought up that we have a connection.
This is a constant on again, off again kind of thing forever, right?
He does admit though, he is indebted to Bruce for killing that poodle. I love that. That's exactly. He doesn't say anything.
Yeah,
else.
He saved you from a French poodle, and I am indebted to him for that. Just the way he says it, it's like, I love you, Samuel, you motherfucker. When you read that, you know he did. When he read that sentence that day, he was like, I have to say what?
Mm-hmm.
But he managed to make it cool.
Yeah, I agree.
Mutant French poodle.
Also, during that conversation is when she says to her dad, "I just wish I knew what happened to him back then." Right? This is the first time we get a plea to know.
Because I know you know, Dad.
And again, we don't actually find out yet that he doesn't tell, but he does not tell her. No, he does not answer her.
He just kind of looks away, and then it cuts to.
He does let her do what she wants. Yeah, she gets to him special treatment.
Yeah, her and Bruce go walking around the old neighborhood with the abandoned houses from when they were kids.
That is what happens. I was just more wanting to say that they get that he approves this because she's asked. Yeah, right now she had asked for it because before we see them walking around is when we see the people try to go break down David's fucking house.
Oh yeah, they go raid it and he's already gone.
Because of course, I only want to mention this because of course he is. Yeah, this man is.
He left as soon as Betty did. As soon as he sicked those dogs off, he was like, "All right, I'm gonna go start doing other shit."
Conspiracy theorist again, like what?
He was already out. Took all of his equipment over to the lab and started.
You guys kept him in jail for 30 years. He's gone.
Right?
Do we ever get told? Did he get released? He says it, but does anybody else confirm that, or did he break out of prison?
He broke out, and he's just saying they released me because
I think so.
Because he's sane. Remember, even they had to admit it.
I know exactly, and I feel like there's no way someone let him pass a sanity test.
No way. He escaped.
Yeah, he obviously is no dummy. While they're busy at his house, though, he was smart enough to be like, Bet you no one's at the lab.
Yep, goes in there and just MacGyvers himself.
Which I do not believe. I believe
rig.
that lab would still have 100% security
That
around
thing is
it.
on complete lockdown because it's still under investigation.
Yeah, well, and until they know what is important, and once they know what's important, it's gone, right? There's like, I just don't
Especially
believe
those gamma reactor things.
I don't
he's
believe
using.
in any way he would
They're just
ever
laying
been able
there.
to do what we see happen right here, which is finally finish his own test, right? Like he wants to
finish his own human experiment on himself because he has the key now. It's the radiation and the nanomeds.
Even though earlier he didn't want to admit it was the nanomeds, or he wanted to passively admit it was the nanomeds.
They could be the key. I think somebody says like that.
Oh, what?
Now he's all for it. He fucking shotguns these things through a big hose, just and then hits the button and gammas himself.
Yep.
And what is his power? Do you understand this? Does he just become stuff? Or can he just absorb the energy from it?
He becomes it at a molecular level, which is why he can literally phase into it, right? Like, because, it's just like if you're in the vacuum of space and you were to you could literally fuse two metals to where they are molecularly the same, right? Like, so it's literally like that principle. He is molecularly the same, so he can actually phase into it because he's so much the same.
They didn't explain it well in the movie because he's just like, I can become one with the energy, and then he like touches it and like throws the fucking panel
the
thing.
First time was even an accident. He's he's like about to stand up, right? Puts his hand on the pole, the metal pole, and he like
turns into the metal.
You hear that awful metal on metal screeching noise.
Oh. Even he's freaking out. He's like, oh shit, trying to get his hand out of it.
Grabs the other hand to rip it off. So great. I love this. So the security guard walks in and he throws out the weirdest fucking line to him, right? Like after the security guard says or whatever, and he's just like, oh, you think I'm not part of you?
And then fucking flips him?
Well, again,
with the floor plate.
He didn't do anything to be part of the guy.
Yeah, right.
It was a very weird thing to say to the guy.
Could he? He can just
I would imagine. I mean,
so if he like
you have a molecular makeup just like this does. So I would imagine yes.
So if he touched you, he could just reach inside and rip your fucking heart out.
I think
probably.
So.
Ew.
But he luckily never figures out this level of control.
That gruesome control of it. He just smashes the guy with a monitor.
Well, and uses the electricity, right? He gets a little bit of the electricity. He's pumping the extra transistor juice.
Gotta make his legs kick.
Because you see like the face, it's got like a little bit of that like black transistor look for a second when he's doing all of it. Weird power set. Like a
chameleon,
but on a base level, right? Like it's not just the color.
I don't become just this shade of blue. I am this metal and paint.
But again, this is the part where it really becomes strange when you try to think about the science of what the fuck happened with David 30 years ago, right?
Yeah, what would make that happen?
Well, I'm not even worried about that, but I mean, like, he was already altered, but he's saying it was only right in his son after being passed down through heredity, and then these other things happening, meaning he should know that he's going to turn out different, but he thought he'd turn out the same, right?
Yeah.
Like, he is an X factor.
That's why he needs his son's DNA later.
But what I'm saying is, even with his son's DNA, he's still an X factor, right? His son doesn't have literally his DNA.
Yeah.
He has half of it. That's what I'm saying.
The mom's the key.
Maybe, but certainly injecting Bruce's DNA into himself and thinking he's going to get the exact same thing would never happen, right? Like,
no.
Because Bruce didn't have literally, like, they didn't shoot his dad's DNA into him the moment he got all this, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He should have known, not that this would happen, but that something
else would have happened, yeah.
Although, I guess I'm giving too much credit to the mad scientist. I'm focusing on the scientist and not the mad.
It's like, remember, he is crazy.
No, he's sane again.
He's sane. He's totally sane.
After we finally see him and his power set and all the craziness that is David Banner and his final
Super
transformation, now is when we see the desert and them talking to each other, walking, because again, she has that kind of pull.
She's got a whole platoon of Marines following
I
her
understand,
too. So I mean,
but
like,
still,
just let
she isn't in the army. You know what I mean? Like
right, she's just wandering around.
she just gets to tell
He's
Daddy,
not
Daddy,
like
let me do this.
handcuffed or
Yeah,
anything.
that's what I'm getting at. It's a little much. The man, they were ready to leave the man sedated in a water tank for eternity.
Just let him wander around.
Yeah,
with some Marines like they're pretty far the fuck away too.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're not going to be able to respond quickly to shit.
Like I said, it's just a little weird. It's plus the fact that again, what science is she practicing, right? Like she is right now, all of a sudden she's a psychologist or some shit, right? Because she starts doing this.
Yeah,
she's like, I can fix him because I can help him unlock this shit in his brain.
Because
but
you're
they
a
were
bioengineer?
Yeah, he was like a nano expert, so robotics and computer
and
programming, and she is something. Maybe somebody is a bioengineer, like you said. Where did the psychology degree come from?
Minored in psychology.
I guess so. Daddy, I can fix him. I minored in psych for 2 semesters. You know.
You know this, and I got a C. Okay,
it's so weird, but she does. She takes him to the place. She takes him to the old house.
Yeah, where it happened.
And she's like, "Look, we need to know
what's in the room. Why are you so afraid of it?
What happened in that room?"
Nothing.
Yeah, no. We finally need to break this down. Yeah. What happened in the room?
His dad killed his mom.
Right. It's
rough. Bruce doesn't actually tell us this. Nick does at some point, right?
Yeah, no.
It's like when
it's the revelation he gives. Yeah,
because that's when Glenn comes and goes over Ross's head and throws him in that fucking tank to the piss off tank.
Yeah. But yeah, we don't find out. But I'm just saying we needed to go ahead and address it fully because even though Bruce doesn't say it out loud, but I'm pretty sure that they're trying to say he knows.
He's
now.
Remembered by this point. Yeah. He's still just not
connecting all the dots.
Yeah.
Well, at this point, he definitely knows it was no longer a monster, right? Like that's
definitely his
bigger
dad.
thing. He knows that his dad never stopped being a man at this point, which means that if you know he went in and because again, the beginning part again, this whole duality of man and monster, right, was like he could at least lie to himself and say the monster that came out killed his mom, right? Yeah. But as soon as you admit that whatever came out of the room wasn't a monster,
it was just
you have to admit your dad killed your mom. So like I said, even though they didn't tell us in words, I think the implication is that
that's why
he knows.
Yeah, and that's why he didn't want to look in that room.
He figured it out. He pieced it together. He wasn't ready to speak about what he finally realized. Yeah, that's kind of the take I took on it. But again, where Ang Lee's doing all this like crazy
fucking
mental, it's
shit.
Hard to know for sure. Yeah. So no one quote me on saying that's what he meant. That just kind of feels like what he meant.
That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it is what it feels like. Thank you, sir. I agree.
Got you, man.
But yeah, this is the part, like you said, Talbot comes crashing in. He is ready to take over the program.
Yeah, he went above General Ross's head.
Well, again, he's still pissed off, right?
To like the senator or some shit.
Well, somebody. And this is when we find out that this is not just a military base. It is a base half owned by the company.
The Atheon company.
Which is so random.
Those military contracts, man.
Don't feel like that's something that would ever happen, right? Like, to the point that, like, they had their name embroiled on the hallway.
The yeah.
That's pretty nuts, dude. Like, that's pretty crazy.
The Atheon built the facility.
I could believe
the military just gets to use it.
That's how it feels. Yeah. I could believe that they had a research lab and then they would have just like a normal sign, not like a goddamn neon sign like you just entered Costco or something. And that's how I felt.
They have an Atheon door greeter at the top. It's like, hi, welcome to Atheon.
But yeah, so while they're there, Talbot's like, well, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this. We see this is where he gets the infamous pants.
Yeah.
The true purple shorts.
True purple pants.
Because these are somehow the most magic of all magic materials.
They never rip.
But
they just grow to the size you need them.
Talbot tells him he's gonna piss him off.
Yeah,
because he wants him pissed off.
Betty's gone. We've already sent her away. She's on her way back to Berkeley.
He thought this was gonna make him mad. Didn't do anything. Hits him.
Punches him in the face.
He's
still
like,
nothing.
Well, look, I see you've got control over that, but I bet you can't control this when you're
knocked the fuck out.
Yeah.
So
uses the cow prod on him.
Yeah.
Puts him in the water. Fucking Ross comes over the overhead Dude, I
the
don't care
fuck are
what you're
you
doing right now,
doing?
but look, I may not be in charge, but I'm telling you with every piece of authority I do have, fucking stop.
Do not do what you are about
This
to
is a
do.
bad idea.
Go fuck yourself.
Talbot's like, I got this.
I need my sample so I can make money.
Glenn gives him the big F you and says, I'm going to do what I do. And so
Turns the
then,
fucking intercom off.
and they start pumping these things into his head, these brainwave signals. So they're making the anger be angry,
Which
right?
makes him trigger memories that he didn't want to remember.
And so now he definitely
And then we
knows.
get the cool, that's happening. And then Nick Nolte is explaining what he had actually done. Because when
he snuck into
to Betty's house,
which is weird. This whole
he
moment
teleports, man.
Well, it's just weird because we see that, and then we basically don't see him again until he's caught.
until
But we don't see him get caught. We just know he is caught, right?
yeah.
It's like I said, Nick Nolte just kind of disappears for a while. Like we see
we
this.
have to have our like action
I
scenes.
know, but it just kind of.
And then we'll get back to the psychological.
It just
movie.
felt weird. But yeah, so he is confessing the truth while Bruce learns the truth in his head, right?
Right?
So like at this point, like I said, I think he already knew. It's just the first time they're playing it on screen for us since we're hearing the words, right? Like so it does. It makes
in his subconscious
this beautiful thing play out at the same
get
time.
Away from it.
But so yeah, what we see is that day we thought he turned into the Hulk. He actually ran home, grabbed a knife, and said he was going to kill Bruce. And Mom said, "Bitch, no."
Got in the way, and they fell, and the knife went right into her chest.
I felt like
they merged,
like the knife became one with her.
And then I knew everything that mattered was gone. And that
this
one
is supposed
fell
to be
moment. I'm like, am I supposed to feel bad for
well,
you?
I don't think that we're supposed to feel bad, but this is supposed to be like just like how the Hulk is like a psychological duality expressing from Bruce's mind.
Yeah.
The reason he can but like the knife became one with her.
Oh, yeah.
It's a weird
psychological
this is the thing that the reason he has his power is also connected to this weird psychological hang up. That's how I took it.
I didn't think of that.
That's why it's such a weird convert. That's why the description is so strange.
Yeah.
Because it does, though, if you think about it, like perfectly describe his power set.
Yeah, a little
too,
bit
in a way.
So he's just merging in together with everything.
Can't separate
like the
them.
Knife.
And how he could, like, it never became not part of her again, or whatever.
Whatever the fuck he says.
Cool
Scene though of her like
insane.
reaching up into the sky, dying, and then the bomb going off in the distance.
It was
nice.
good.
That was good.
It was insane. Bruce remembering at this very moment while that happens, he remembers literally Ross coming in when he was a kid, putting his arm on the literally. We even see the flashback makes us think that like Ross had a moment to be a good dude,
like fucking Gordon.
Yes.
For Bruce Wayne and shit,
he had a moment
the jacket around
to
him,
be a good dude.
Fuck no, grabs him and yeets him off to a fucking orphanage and never thinks of him again until like a month ago.
When he finds out that his daughter's been hanging out with him for years. Man,
they did not communicate at all.
But yeah, so at this point though, he has officially crossed over. The anger has come out.
He is
Hulkifies in the water tank, busts it to all hell.
Just keeps
He's
getting
full
bigger.
Hulk now, right? We've seen like Kid Hulk, the very first version of him that could fit in a hallway. We saw the teenage Hulk, which was the one like beating the dogs.
Yeah, beating the dogs up
because he was a little bit taller. This is like full stature.
Yeah, this is full. I have to bend over to go down these giant corridors in this huge base.
Well, and like literally, like we see him till Talbot shoots him with the weird foam.
I like
trap.
The foam.
It was cool. It's but he shoots him with the foam trap, right? And like that's the moment where you really get an idea of like how big he is, because he's trapped lengthwise down this hallway, and it's still huge, right?
Yeah.
Face is right there. Talbot walks up to his head
touching the ceiling.
Talbot walks up to, and you see the difference between his head and Talbot's head, and you're like, damn,
dude, don't do
that's
just
big.
Back up.
Talbot's like, no, but I need to get a piece of you. I need some of you.
A
I need
sample.
to extract it.
And that's not even just like goes for like the cheek. No, fuck that. He's going for the eye with this huge drill thing. For you to fucking just piss him off more, why don't you?
And that's all that really happens here.
Yeah,
because you can't. The man's bounced. At this point, we've seen bullets bounce off. We've seen a lot of stuff already. You're not hurting the dude.
The Hulk busts out of this foam, and
ready to go.
throws Talbot down the hallway.
Talbot's
grabs,
having PTSD right now from the last time he got
that fucking
tossed.
rocket launcher thing and shoots it like, I got you now.
Well, what's crazy about the scene is like he pulls the bullet out of his pocket. He
Like, he's
didn't
been
have a
carrying it
gun.
the whole
He
time.
grabbed a gun from somebody else.
Yeah, it was somebody else's.
He was like, bullet?
Just in case.
I need your gun.
Just in case.
It
always
but
carries
if
a
it's just
shell.
in case, wouldn't you have the gun to fire said bullet?
Say, everybody has one. I don't have to carry that fucking grenade launcher.
But yeah, he pulls out this wicked, insane, I don't even know bullet. It's nuts.
It looks like a mortar shell, but he feeds it into a grenade launcher. Explain that one too.
I don't know. This thing was nuts, dude.
He shoots him, and it just bounces off into the wall.
Again, we said this is a serious movie. This is not your MCU fare where we got to make everything funny. And I agree, we don't need everything funny. This movie maybe got a little too serious at times.
This
this was the greatest comic relief. Not just like you mentioned earlier, the way Talbot actually dies, but like the
whole
fact
setup.
that we see it bounce off and ricochet into the wall.
The noise when it bounces.
It's beeping in the wall. You can see the red dot blinking for a second.
Like, oh shit.
Yeah, there's so much that is so funny right here. But yeah, we tape it all off with, like you said earlier, Talbot flying forward, and we get the weird. They freeze frame it at the
for
weirdest
like a
time.
half second. He's got like a black outline around him.
Yeah, he's got the border. It's so comic booky, so beautiful. I loved it, and we get the full comic book like checkered board transition from this out.
Yes.
I love it. It was so good. A lot of people want to complain about this, but you can say what you want.
I loved it. I loved
this. Is what a comic book movie should be.
This happens a lot through the next where he's escaping from the thing.
This is what a comic book movie should be.
Panel of General Ross giving orders. Panel of destruction going on.
Well,
panel of like what Nolte's doing.
We can kind of roll through this for right now.
This is just a big action sequence.
He goes out. He's bouncing through the desert, right?
Runs into some big ass tanks. Has a big old brawl with them.
Bullets are bouncing. Even the tank shells are
just
bouncing.
Bounce off, but I guess they're on a time delay because they still blow up. They just bounce off, land in the sand, and he just looks at them for a second, and then they blow up.
I love this because as soon as he breaks out, we officially see that this version of the Hulk is like the old school Superman, right?
Yeah.
He's leaping tall buildings
in a single bound.
He's being hit by bullets, no problem. Like he's
more
Superman.
Powerful than a locomotive.
Yeah, well, he's faster than a locomotive. He's like you see him. He even looks like that when he's doing the first run. Like his legs are doing like the circular like movement type thing. I was like,
when the helicopter shows up and he goes around that one like big round curve thing and they're shooting at him, he's full locomotive.
I'm telling you. All of these scenes were so great in like showing his power set.
Oh, no,
they waited so long to show us a full power set. It's so good.
He starts with the tanks, right? And it's like, oh, those are too bulky and slow moving, right? So because he just picks one of them up and just uses it like a hammer.
Hey, one of them almost took him out. Let's not forget about the nut shot.
It did hit him in the balls with that.
But that's a low blow.
It is. It's cheap. Fucking just tilts the barrel of it back at it and just like, there, shoot again, asshole.
But yeah, after those is when we get
the super badass
the
helicopter things
that were real.
Yeah, these were real experimental.
People need to know that because I feel like
almost used these.
I feel like when you see them in this movie, you feel like you're looking at a G.I. Joe toy.
Yeah,
because they do
the Cobra Command on the side.
They do look like a G.I. Joe toy. They really do.
They act like because they have the little wing pods.
They look like they
out.
would never be able to fly. The metal piece that spins the propellers looks so heavy,
right?
That you never would think that would move.
But it was an experimental aircraft.
Yeah, it was definitely never got really used. This is the closest they have to trial footage is the fake footage in the movie.
What was it you said earlier? It was like, this is why we didn't pick them up. This movie is like Ang Lee put it through their paces, and he's just like, no, these suck. We're not. Well, they never.
The fuel economy is horrible, right? Like we see during the fight
like twice. They're like, we gotta go get more fuel.
They get called in. Ross is hanging back, watching from the other helicopter, the old school, right? He's watching. And they shoot everything they've got. And the Hulk fights with them for 5 minutes. Don't get me wrong. They flew from wherever the base was. So it was a good distance because he's leaping at this point. But it doesn't change the fact that it's not that long of a flight.
Yeah, it's like 10 minutes. And they're like, oh, we need more fuel.
He's taken out a couple of the helicopters. So I'm sure the other ones are ready to leave.
Yeah,
but they're like, we're out of ammo and gas.
How are you out of gas? Ammo I gave it. How are you out of gas already? We were
And
flying for
Ross,
5 minutes.
this is how commonplace it must have been. Ross didn't even question it.
No, he's just like, all right, go get more fuel. I'm going to stay here. He never asked to go. He's out there for the whole duration of it. He even flies all the way to San Francisco at the end. On one tank.
On one tank. He flies this thing
Huey.
forever, right? But so we see this epic traveling battle goes on. Ross calls Betty. I'm pretty sure he's headed to you. You need to be ready. She's like, I'm on base.
I'm already
good.
there.
Don't worry. We see this gets wild because the Golden Gate Bridge.
Yeah, because the jets are coming in now. Now he's fighting fucking F-22s. He goes on the ride up into space and then falls back down into the water.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I almost forgot about the cool plane part. The one that takes him up. Yeah.
Because he jumps on the back of the plane and they're like, take him to the top of the earth. And he takes him up so far that he passes out.
Yeah, the plane thing is really cool. It's like a game of chicken.
Yeah.
Right? Between him and the jet guy.
Who's going to pass out first?
The jet guy was seriously... Well, he didn't win, I don't think.
No,
I think we call it
He
for
calls
the whole.
it. He's like, I'm pulling out of this.
They were both about to go, so it was really close.
It was really close.
But yeah, there was a hell of a gamble from Ross with this dude's life to be like, go up to space in that plane.
Because it does. It
Oh yeah, no,
it's
they're
all
on
blue,
the edge. Yeah,
and
no,
it turns
it's
into
starting
stars and
the
shit.
glass is starting to like
Yeah,
crystallize.
it's freezing over.
Yeah. Then we come back down. Then, like I said, we see him. He dives into the water, right? And like I said, the next time we see him is when he comes.
He busts up out of the ground
from the and
Like,
it's
under
not
the
even
street.
like he
He's, like,
immediately
coming-
busts up out of the ground. We see him make the trail like a cartoon.
Trimmers,
Yes.
fucking making the big trail through
And so,
the fucking
like,
street.
did he go from the bay to the sewer system?
Had to have.
That's a crazy... Because if not, they would have found him again.
Yeah.
Right? That's why he dove into the water, was to hide from the other jets that were
If
still
he'd have
flying
just
around.
come crawling up on the beach, they'd have been like,
Yeah.
shoot him again.
But that is not how he handles it.
Yeah, he's lucked out and happened to find a big ass sewer drain underwater.
Now is when he comes back out. He's above ground. They see him.
They're surrounding him again.
Everything's gotta
He
come to a
picks up-
head.
He picks up the big rock to throw it at Ross's chopper, and it turns right in time for him to see Betty's in it, and he's like,
No.
"Oh, it's Betty. I won't throw the rock." And
Yeah.
he's just kind of they would say this bit takes way too long. She has to go land and then come
Mhm.
running down the stairs, and Hulk the whole time is just kind of staring at everybody, pointing guns at him and shit.
It's a weird, not even tense moment.
No,
they
he's
don't
just
play it
kinda
as
waiting.
tense. Yeah.
He's
It's-
just kind of waiting, and then he calms down. And I liked the transition of him turning from Hulk back into Eric Bana and stuff was really nice CGI work for 2003.
It looks good.
Yeah, it was really good.
The craziest part about this is it feels like the end.
Yeah, this movie's over.
And it might as well be the end. Like, I know the end is the actual ending is your favorite, but you gotta agree with me.
Yeah, I agree. You could have stopped here.
And it feels like it's going to.
It really does.
until
You're like
literally
waiting for it to fade to black.
Over Bruce Banner's shoulder, you start to see soldiers,
Creeping up.
and you're like, oh wait,
We're not done.
that can't be where it is.
Never mind.
They take him to custody. They're ready to do the same thing again. When did they get his dad? When did David get in custody?
Because when he talks to Betty in
We
her
don't
house,
see it.
we don't see him get arrested. He's just like, I'll turn myself in. I just
But
want
we
to
don't
talk
know
to
it.
my
I mean,
son.
I understand.
Yeah,
we're just
but we
supposed to know
never
he
see
did.
him get arrested, so he's just in that jail cell, and they bring him out.
Perfect timing for us to hook him up to this giant electromagnet thing because they're ready to shock Bruce if he turns, but then they're trying to make him turn. What is happening?
I don't know.
I know you love this. It is good action.
I
And it's some-
love this
it is-
because of Nick Nolte.
I was going to say it is definitely some great Nolte. I will
It
give
is.
you that.
It is fantastic. He is chewing literally the scenery around.
Well, that's
him
what I was
in
gonna
this
say. So, like,
scene.
at this point, nobody knows his powers. Nobody's
No.
seen them. He
He's
didn't
just-
show them off to Betty.
no,
Nobody knows because obviously they would have found a better prison for him.
Yeah.
But so nobody realizes why putting him this close to the giant electromagnet
generator
thing is a bad idea.
no, because after him and Bruce talk for a while,
They're starting to get-
and he has his
Well, it's-
fucking rant
right.
about the government and what they've done to humanity.
Well, and we start to see this like they think that Bruce is going to start getting heated. And what's funny is like when you're watching the moment, you're like, I don't think Bruce is
He's
getting
kinda-
mad.
He's more sad than anything.
Yeah,
he's
just like, oh wow. my dad really is a crazy man, right? Like he's just having that realization.
He's just like, I
oh,
just
fuck.
want you to go. Just please
don't
go.
be a part of my life
right?
anymore. Go away. But yeah, right when this is all going down and the dad is going nuts, they're like, fuck it.
Hit him with the juice.
We're done with all of them. Because again, Bruce was going to get caught in the haywire.
He was going to get it anyway.
But they fucked up.
Because David's like, all right, fine. You want me to go? I'll go. Grabs the big wire right when they're about to hit the switch.
Like a rat. Chews the wire. Bites in. Takes the electricity.
Absorbs all of it.
Becomes a molecular
turns into lightning man.
Yes. And now we get our real fight.
Real boss fight.
This is and again, this is why we had this. Like, we needed a fight.
Yeah,
right?
we needed a fight. A super villain fight.
Because if not, it didn't need to be here.
No.
It doesn't really resolve a whole lot. But we see a fight.
It's awesome.
They duke it out. Oh, it's good. We see a couple of changes.
The flashing through the sky as the lightning, and just we get like flashes
nice old school
of the Hulk getting his ass beat.
Yeah. We see him hit the rock, and he loses control over his power again.
Yeah,
letting us know David definitely is still not like...
Yeah,
he's lucky that the first part worked, right? Because he doesn't know exactly how to do this. Because he got fused into the rock as a rock.
Yeah, he was kind of stuck. So Hulk grabs the whole thing and chucks it off into the water.
And then he remembers.
Oh, yeah.
He remembers what his dad said to him, right? Something about drawing the power in. He said, oh, you want the power? You think you can handle, my power?
This? You want all this smoke?
Which, again, I feel like is a better thing to have been in a second or a third Hulk movie.
Yeah, probably.
Right? Like once we really understand that there's no limit.
And Hulk has probably like more control over his power.
Right now, it seems a little weird for us to see a dude that still doesn't really know how to do anything. I can project my energy into you. Like we've not seen him be able to know how to do something like that.
Yeah, it seems like more of a Mark Ruffalo's Hulk finish.
He seems like he knows the control. Yeah,
yeah,
he's
especially
because
he's the one that's I'm always angry.
Yeah, I don't know, but it does solve the problem. He kills his dad. He overloads him,
blows up like a giant
power.
balloon. Take it back.
Blows him up, but then Ross shows up with a missile. What is it?
It's a gamma bomb.
It's our first and only
honest to God
gamma bomb. We've seen lots of gamma explosions in this movie.
This one was designed as a bomb,
and it bombed.
It does.
That bomb done bombed.
Blows the shit out of him.
But literally, this is so crazy to me. We see Bruce okay.
Yeah, he's fine. He's just kind of chilling in the water.
Now, then they cut to Ross acting like Ross didn't see that, and that's fine. But they play the scene to us as the viewer like we were supposed to get surprised.
Yep.
But we saw him alive. Why are we supposed to be surprised?
It's not like he was even like playing dead in the water.
Yes, no.
Eyes
we
open,
see him
just kind of looking around,
fluttering eyes. Yeah, looking.
I'm okay.
He is naked. I will give him the gamma bomb did blow the clothing completely away.
Got rid of the magic shorts.
No even purple pants. Yeah, those are gone now.
The ripples kind of hide any of the...
But we cut to 1 year later, right? Like, and again, I want to say, we've already had one ending. This was two endings, right?
The second ending.
Because everything for the 1 year later would be a modern day MCU post-credit scene. Yeah, right.
Exactly.
Mid-credits.
It'd be the thing that you're like sitting there waiting
to tie you into the next movie. Because all that this scene is setting up for us is that Ross believes he's dead. Betty doesn't. Ross thinks Betty knows more. Betty says she doesn't, and that she hopes she doesn't ever hear from him. Yep. If he is alive, he'd be better off to not be talking to me. And goddamn, that's the first and only thing she has said in this whole fucking movie I agree with, because she has been sick for him. She is the worst kind of, like, everything she has done, bad.
Yep, it's really bad.
But yeah, the conversation between the two of them is...
She's just like, my phone's bugged, even if he did call me, you'd know it.
You're asking me like you don't already know the answer.
Yeah,
like
you just want to hear it from me? Yeah. Will that make you feel better? Because I don't know.
It was so strange, but it's just to set up for us, like, it is a mystery.
Oh, where is he?
Again, like, it's almost like the is he or isn't he, even though we already know because they showed us.
Yep. He's fine.
The only thing we didn't know that this scene does set up for us is the where, right? The where he's been that they weren't able to know he's alive.
It's in like
South America. And we see him. He's saving people in the jungle, right?
Nice,
the rainforest.
Doing doctor things.
Again, he wasn't a doctor.
It's fine.
He was a computer programming
It's not
roboticist.
it's not medicine. It's the nanomeds in
I
the
hope
syringe.
so.
He's
I
just
hope
injecting
so.
these kids with nanomeds.
We see though that a drug cartel is trying to take over. They don't want nobody healing people.
Yeah, this village helps our enemies, so fuck you, man.
And then this is we said earlier we didn't get it. We don't get it in the movie. We don't get the angry line.
Don't make me angry
You won't like me when I'm angry. And we weren't lying. We don't get it in the movie. You don't hear those words come out of anybody's mouth because we get it in Spanish.
And it's a subtitle. It's the best we get. But that's
the
how the
only
movie
thing I can
ends.
say about this is I hope that means they use the exact lines that the Spanish version of the Incredible Hulk used, right? Like they didn't like retranslate it
into Spanish
from us to the
Yeah.
like they just literally used whatever was in the 70s dub over.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I can hope.
I hope so too.
But all right, guys, that's it. There's no mid-credit scene. This is like we said. This would have been
before
it.
that happened.
This would have been the mid-credit scene. One thing I think obviously we'll go ahead and address. Obviously, this episode's a little different than the Radio Flyer episode.
Yeah.
I think we both have agreed that this is maybe the best format for it. Radio Flyer was maybe a little too loose.
We were trying to avoid some.
We were trying to
uncomfortable
avoid
subjects.
the trap of getting scene by scene.
Yeah.
And when you kind of go with the flow of the movie, it's real easy to kind of maybe go back there. Like obviously we still are going through the movie, but we are definitely trying not to be like overanalyze.
This scene.
Yeah, overanalyze everything that's on the screen. We're trying to give you a lot more of who we are, talking about the things that we think of when we see these things on the screen, what they remind us of, other pop culture things, you know. But again, we just for full clarity, we want to make sure people understand this is still just the trial period. So you might notice a little bit of back and forths of us trying to hammer out exactly how
we're
works.
doing this. But it will
Um,
all be shorter. That's all.
That's the key. The key is that they're not going to be
3 hours.
marathons for you to watch anymore.
Don't have to fucking grind through it, man.
Yeah.
We understand that was rough.
Yeah, and so we are trying to do better there, and we are definitely accomplishing it so far.
Yeah, I think so.
On that, we need to tell them what we thought about this beer.
I like it.
Gamma Bomb definitely packed a punch
Yep.
or packed an explosion. I'm trying
It
to think
was
of a good
a
way to say
it was
that.
a gamma burst of IPA
It's
goodness.
a burst of good flavor. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Gamma Bomb bursting with yeah. Something like that. It was good, guys.
Warped Wing Brewing Company. Go try
2 in
it.
a row now.
Yeah, 2 in a row.
They
did
know
a
what
good
they're
job,
doing.
so
Yeah.
go
Way to
try
go
it.
with that Flyer Red. Way to go with this one. We'll be on the lookout for some
another
more
one,
at this
probably,
point.
Yeah.
Once you hit 2 for us, and again, that was
Gotta
a
go for
complete
3.
accident. We're
The
gonna
hat
look.
trick.
Yeah, especially where this was a complete accident and it turned out they're both good. You gotta go back.
Yeah, you gotta go.
You gotta
back for
go see if we
thirds.
can go for one more. Right? Have to. I'll let you go ahead and hit them with the beer and movie for next week, since this is 100% like
This was
Bo
my
wanted to
pick.
do the Hulk, and I'll give him credit on that. But I also am a comic book person, so this is hardly like a all Bo. Next week is a
This is mine
all
completely.
Bo. Yeah,
This
yeah.
is
through and through.
This is my literal Roman Empire. We're going to be doing Languinitas Maximus. That's the beer. Because we're going to do fucking Gladiator. The Ridley
Nice.
Scott epic that you should all know. I shouldn't have to tell you to see this movie.
Yeah, if you've not seen it, definitely see it. Again,
Especially since there's a sequel coming soon.
I wasn't trying to downplay the love for the movie. This is 100%. Like if you knew Bo's person, and you'll see, I'm sure there's no way he'll be able to hide it.
I get excited
Bo is
about it.
very excited about the Roman Empire, and because of this movie is what spurned.
Yeah, it
like,
was. This is what started it, because I was like 6th grade when
Yeah.
the movie came out.
So yeah, you guys, you'll see lots of excitement coming for us for sure.
I'm almost
from that one.
giddy. And
But I think we're finished, man.
Are we good? Are we done? All right, cool. Hit the sad piano music. I'm going to go try and catch a ride down this sad country road.
gamma explosions.